Madison Psychiatry and explore their resources, visit unitypoint.org/Madison, because no one should struggle alone.
Hi, this is former Badger Pro Football Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN WTLX Monona, Madison. Good Karma Brands radio station.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by Ho Chunk Gaming Madison, home of smoke-free slots and the highest payout percentage in the area. Ho Chunk Gaming Madison, more spins, more wins, more fun. Free agent frenzy taking place last night in the world of football. A lot of names linked to the Green Bay Packers now off the board. What does it mean as NFL free agency gets started this week? The legal tampering period gets started later today. Free agents can officially sign starting on Wednesday with their respective teams. ESPN Packers reporter Rob Demovsky with the latest on DK Metcalf, on a whole bunch of other players. Check it out at ESPNWisconsin.com. Devontae Adams to the Rams. DK Metcalf to the Steelers. Myles Garrett re-signs with Cleveland. You'll want to catch up on all the latest, or stick around for Wilde and Tausch. Jason Wilde, cousin sub of the day, Bryan Bulaga. Going to get you all caught up on NFL free agency starting in just a couple of moments. Meanwhile, college basketball, Wisconsin falls to Penn State on Saturday on Senior Day at the Kohl Center. The Badgers are the 5 seed in the Big Ten tournament. They'll play in the second round on Thursday.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com. Three-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde.
Is there anything anybody loves more than agreeing with Tausch?
Packers Hall of Famer Mark Tauscher.
I got a hunch this isn't going to be concise either.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio.
I would say that you are pretty easygoing. You're actually probably more easygoing than I am.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Well, you're not easygoing at all.
Hey!
On 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Monday edition. The welcome back to the Green Bay Packers. Welcome to the Packers. DK Met. No. Actually, I'm okay with the second one, by the way. Are you panicking? Free agency hasn't even started yet. It starts in an hour and 58 minutes. But you do know who the general manager is. Edition. And God, I love it when I get 3 hours of radio with this fella. Edition. Of Wilde and Tausch. No, Tausch is not on the show today. On 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming live video, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Although I'm having trouble with my video right now, so you can't see my Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin hoodie. And, of course, everything you need on WisconsinOnDemand.com and the Wisconsin On Demand app. I'm Jason Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson, the star of Bowl Stream TV. I only caught a couple of minutes. Had a lot going on yesterday, but he tried not to be a homer We'll ask him if he succeeded. We'll explain next. And our cousin sub of the day, cousin subs, we believe in better. I have to assume that he's there. I can't see him because I can't get my stupid iPad to connect. Is that Bryan Bulaga's walk-up music? It is. He is the soon-to-be Packers Hall of Famer. They probably didn't want to put him in the same class as Mark Murphy, so Mark Murphy gets to go in all by his lonesome. But he does, and he is our famous friend. He is Bryan Bulaga on Wilde and Tausch. Bryan, good morning. Welcome. How you doing?
Oh, boy.
Well, this seems to be going well.
We are not hearing Bulaga. We can't get Jason on video. Other than that, everything's going great.
Tausch doesn't come to work for one day, and suddenly now everything goes to hell.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll get connected with Bryan.
We'll have to figure that one out.
We'll go old school for a moment, and you'll have to just listen to the dulcet tones of my voice as I discuss the fact that the Green Bay Packers did not pursue Davante Adams. Never contacted him. Never showed any interest in him. And for those of us that had been, shall we say, proponents of this idea, this is what I kept saying I was worried about on this very show. I did not want to be the bearer of false hope. And just because I thought it made sense, just because he was interested in returning, didn't mean that Goody was interested in him returning. And it turns out that he wasn't. So when Davante Adams signed a 2-year, $46 million deal, which is a lot, by the way, with the Los Angeles Rams yesterday, I thought at least there'd be a conversation, but there wasn't. Now, speaking of conversations, I'm connected to the video, and more importantly, we now hear Bryan Bulaga. Bryan, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? We back?
I'm better now.
Okay.
Are you disappointed with the start here? Because I'll be honest, DK Metcalf on $150 million for a second-round pick, I'm not going to criticize Goody one iota. And it turns out they weren't interested in him either. According to the two people that I talked to, or texted with, or however you want to phrase it, the Packers never pursued him. So I'm not trying to throw cold water on Corbin Burnson Smith out in Seattle or anybody else, but that's what I was told. And there are people that I don't think would lie to me. Goody was not one of them, for the record. And then on the flip side, I was worried that all along, all that time that you and I and Bulaga, and Tausch and Homer and KBN and Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, we talked so much about Davante. It made so much sense. And I was worried, well, maybe it makes sense to all of us, but not to Goody. Sure looks like that's exactly what happened. So how do you feel about the 24-hour, the New Year, the free agency eve goings on yesterday involving the Packers?
Yeah, I mean, and this is no slight on DK Metcalf. I think he's a good wideout. I think he's a dynamic playmaker. But a second-round pick and a 5-year, $150 deal, that was never going to be something that the Packers were going to do. That was never going to be in the cards. And you know, the Steelers are in a different situation from a franchise standpoint, from a receiver standpoint, and just overall. Like, you look where they're at compared to the Packers, they're in a different place. And I think it was never Goody just wasn't gonna do that, right? And you look at the way they build the wide receiver room, and you look at the structure of this offense. Metcalf, the way he plays and what they do and how they utilize him, he's not really a fit for this scheme. And I'm not saying that you can't find ways to use him, but LaFleur's offense, these guys are interchangeable, working at different positions in the slot, out wide, in motion, and doing all these different things. I mean, DK Metcalf is a monster. He's the guy that runs vertical. You throw the ball up to him. You run deep crossers with them and deep posts. And like, yeah, those things are in LaFleur's offense, but those aren't what you do all the time, right? And like, it's just not really something that, like, you're going to go pay 5 years, $150 million for and give up a 2 for. So,
and you
I'm
felt
not
that way all along, right? You were not. To be clear, you were never pushing for that move.
Yeah, like I didn't think that the DK Metcalf one was something that. I mean, if it would have happened, I would have been very surprised. I mean, I'll just put it that way. Like, and that's not me saying that I don't think DK Metcalf is a good player. I think he's very good, and I think for the right offense, he could be very good for it. Like when he was in Seattle, and that's the type of offense that they played, he was very good for it. It wasn't a good fit for Green Bay, and obviously that's the way Goody approached it. Now we go to the second question. That's Tay. That one surprised me, and it surprises me because there were a lot of reasons why it could have worked, and why it may have, and why it should have worked, and it just didn't. And we saw the deal he got with the Rams, right? What was it, 23 a year? I think 1 year was essentially guaranteed, right? 26 million.
26 million guaranteed, right?
Yeah. So essentially, the first year is guaranteed, and we'll see how the next year. I don't know if there's a roster bonus or whatever tied into the next. I have no idea. But regardless, 23 or in some change a year, and I just don't think Green Bay was going to get to that number. And essentially is what I'm saying. And we don't even know if there was tons of communication, if there was any communication at all. So to me, it made sense. Maybe to the team, it didn't make sense. And that's kind of where we're at right now, right? And I, as a fan now, and as someone that played with Devontae, I wanted it really bad, right? Because I know the type of value he brings to a locker room, to an offense, to a young wide receiver room. So to me, I really wanted it because I'd love to see him back there and bringing that experience back to Lambeau Field and to that locker room, but just wasn't meant to be, right? It just wasn't meant to be. And for Devontae, gets to stay out west. He went out there to Vegas. He's from out there. It makes sense for him and his family. I understand it from that standpoint. So, you got to look at it from both sides, right? Green Bay makes the decision on their side not to even pursue it if they did it all. And Tay makes the decision on his side to stay out west. And it's a good fit for him with Stafford and that type of offense. It's the same offense that he ran in Green Bay with LaFleur. It's the same exact offense.
He's playing for LaFleur's brother.
Yes, like exactly. He's in the same scheme that he thrived in with a very good quarterback. So like for him, that is a very good fit. Like and he's got another great receiver with Puka and a great running back. I mean, it's a very good fit. So it's a good decision by him.
Here's the question that I have for both you and for our fans. Are you disappointed that they didn't look, I'm telling you, and I feel like, I don't break a whole lot of news around here. But I think if you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out that I might have corresponded with a couple people that would know what they're talking about on this. Does it bother you as a Packers fan that they didn't even inquire about him? Like, do you feel better if they say, look, we want you back, but we're talking $18 million a year, not $23 million a year? Do you feel better if they talk to him and say, here's kind of what we have in mind, and then it doesn't happen and he goes to the Rams anyway? Or do you feel better if the Packers make a strong offer and he chooses the Rams? Because, I'm sorry, it's great that he wants to stay on the West Coast, but I don't believe that is the deal breaker for him on where he was going. He went to the Jets, for crying out loud. So I don't know, when I look at it, I don't know if you as a Packers fan should feel better, worse, or maybe it doesn't matter, but I know there's a section of the Packers fan base that when we say they were in the conversation, some of them feel better, and some of them are like, well, that doesn't matter. You didn't get the guy. Well, this isn't a they were in the conversation scenario. This was a they never talked to him scenario. So does that make you feel better, worse, or does it not matter?
I'll tell you, it doesn't make me feel better, because listen, and I'll just put it like, yeah, it doesn't make me feel better just from the standpoint of the way the receiver room is right now, right? Like, I'm a fan of Christian Watson, and I think he's good. And I've gone through the injury that he's gone through multiple times. And it's an injury you can recover from. You can be good after you recover from it. It takes a while, though. So, while I think he will be fine and he will be back to himself, he won't be back to himself till later on in the year, if not a full year, which is the end of the football season. So, take him out of the equation now and look at the wide receiver room. And you look at what's going on in play there. It needs another addition, so to speak, right? And that's kind of where I look at the room, and I think for me, adding a guy like Tay would have been really good. So, the fact there wasn't even a conversation, I guess it doesn't make me feel great. We talked about this way back when Mark Murphy wrote that his last letter about urgency this offseason. That was a big word that we talked about what does that mean? What does urgency mean? Does that mean they're going to really put the pedal to the metal in the weight room during OTAs? No, that's not what that means. That is not what that means. I can assure you that's not what that is. It means this time. It means around this time. That's what urgency means. So that's what I was expecting. Goody may have something else in mind, which that's fine. Maybe LaFleur has something else in mind. That's fine. We just have to wait and see, right? And I'm not jumping the gun on it. We'll just have to wait and see and go from there.
So one of the things we try to do around here is not be overreactionary. Like, we kind of joke about it from time to time, and we do some overreactions from time to time as a shtick, but we try not to be. And let's be honest, free agency, the negotiating window doesn't even open for another hour and 45 minutes. So I think we probably, because I saw it, Twitter is down, by the way. It's not us that's down, it's all of Twitter, which now that I'm paying for that, I'm less than pleased.
Tough day for that.
Yeah, perfect day. And no news going on in the football world. But look, as Bryan said, he may have other thoughts. He may have other places he wants to spend. I know that there are people in that building that like Trey Hendrickson a lot. Whether or not they're willing to trade for him, again, I don't know. And Goody, as is his job, isn't confiding in me or Domofsky or Bill Huber or anybody else telling him, yeah, I'm thinking we should trade for Trey Hendrickson, or I'm not interested in Devontae. Now, I wish he would have responded to my text. Maybe he did by not responding. But the bottom line is that there's a lot of ball game left, as our old pal Aaron Nagler likes to say. So it's not over. It hasn't even started. But if I'm a Packers fan, I have some apprehension about the wide receiver room. I feel like they're and look, the free agency class stinks. So you didn't go after Devontae. The other options, I mean, Chris Godwin, he's had good years. I'm not saying he hasn't, but that doesn't get you real excited. The draft class, not as good as previous wide receiver draft classes. So are they going to run it back without Watson for 2/3 of the season? With Romeo Doubs, I can tell you, I'm not the only one who doesn't know what the hell to expect from him at this point, both with the concussions and kind of the unusual behavior. Wicks and Reed, I still think have boatloads of potential, but they combined to drop almost 20 balls last year. And then Bo Melton, who I love as a person, and Malik Heath are still in the mix. But if you don't upgrade that position at all, what are your plans? Maybe it's going to be a tight end centric offense. I don't know, but it does not appear on the surface that any major change is going to come to that room, even if you draft a guy in the third round. So here's the question that we have for today, and we'll take some calls on it on the Carbless Talk and text line. You can always text as well, and then we'll get into the YouTube comments as well coming up. But two things: one, are you panicking already? I hope you're not.
No.
It's too early to panic. But two, as I asked Bryan, are you disappointed that the Packers made no effort to bring back Davante Adams? I'm on board with DK Metcalf, too rich for my blood, both financially and giving up a second-round pick for him. I'm not interested. And Goody apparently wasn't either. So I'm not crushing them for that. The Davante one, and maybe you and I are biased because you played with him, and I like him a lot, and he's one of my guys. But I still feel like it made so much sense that I'm really surprised that there wasn't even a conversation.
Yeah, so like I just want to make sure that I'm clear on it and you're clear on it. Like that's what I'm like disappointed in, right? Like I'm like the fact that it didn't get across the line isn't what I'm like like so upset about, right? Like that's not what it is, right? This is free agency. Like anything can happen, right? Like that, and that's the way this thing goes. Like it's just that there wasn't even a conversation. That to me is it, right? Like if there was a conversation, that's a different story, right? Like okay, there was at least like some interest there, like that, like, and if Tay wasn't playing at a certain level, I guess, right? Like if he was completely dropped off, this is a different story, right? Like, and to me, that's not something that I've seen from him. And this was with the Jets offense. I get, they had their own issues, but even with the Jets offense, he played well. Right. Like, and that seemed difficult to do at times. So, that's the reason why I'm a little taken back by it. Besides that, I'm not mad that they didn't get it across the line. That is not the case at all. So I just want to make sure that like when we hear people call in and text like that, you and I don't get crushed for saying like you're mad he didn't reset. No, that's not it. That's not it at all. This is the funny money season, man. Like anything can happen. You can't be emotional about players going to different teams. Like this is the way things happen this time of year. You just gotta roll with it.
Well, we will roll with your calls and texts on the Carbless Talk and text line 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. Are you panicking? Hopefully not. And are you disappointed, not that the Packers didn't get Davante Adams, as Bryan said, but that they didn't even show one iota of interest in bringing him back? I thought it made perfect sense. Shows what I know. Apparently, I don't know much. But that's not what the Packers were interested in. They did not pursue him, period, at all. Does that concern you? Does that disappoint you as a Packers fan? 844-770-3776. We'll get to your thoughts next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
To those who've ever dreamt of their perfect event, those dreams are worthy and they are possible. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With hard work, passion, and great music, we will make your event dreams a reality. Every event is a labor of love, with one-on-one planning, customization, and flawless execution. Bringing your event to life is what we do. For a fun, memorable event, visit celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it for yourself at 2 convenient Madison service locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. From simple maintenance to expert repairs, Honda certified technicians handle it all. Need new tires? For a limited time at Zimbrick Honda, you can buy 3 tires and get the 4th for only $1. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop local. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
What are you doing out there?
Come on!
I saw you at the game the other night. Yeah, you. Up there getting mad, acting like we're all out there making $1 million a game. Well, let me be real with you. This isn't the pros. It's school sports, and it's a game, our game. So please, let us play.
School sports fans, remember, when you cheer for your team, make noise for the right reasons. This message presented by the NFHS and the NIAAA.
And all student athletes in Wisconsin.
Have you been waiting to buy your next home? Stop. Now is the time to get housed. What's up, Madison? It's Stacy from Bruner Realty. Nobody has a crystal ball to know what the future holds. The longer you wait to find your next home, the better the chance you'll be paying more for it than you would be today. Don't miss out on what could be the best opportunity to find your dream home. Contact our team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to help start your search. That's BrunerRealtyInc.com. Let's get housed.
Mark Tauscher here, introducing Pizza Hut's new Ultimate Hut Bundle. Get any 2 medium pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and your pick of breadsticks, cheese sticks, or cinnamon sticks with the perfect dip for only $24.99. You want even more? Upgrade to large pizzas or double your wings for just $5 each. Get the ultimate feast for the ultimate value because this deal is too delicious to miss. Hurry in or order online today at pizzahut.com. The Ultimate Hut Bundle. Only at Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
From the biggest plays on the court to the comments made in the locker room after, an in-depth recap of every Bucks game in 6 minutes. No more, no less. Bucks in 6 provides game recaps for every game. Hear the high-flying dunks from Giannis.
Puts it on the floor, spins down the lane, and plunges it through.
Or the deep threes from Dame.
Dame time has arrived with 107.
Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. Find it now on bucks.com/plus or on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcasts.
As you're putting your spring calendar together, we'd love to have you join us Saturday, May 17th for Mark Osiki's 7th Annual Casting for Kids Fishing Tournament to support the American Family Children's Hospital, UW Carbone Cancer Center. We're on the Madison Chain of Lakes at 8 a.m., then back at the Alliant Energy Center at 2 p.m. for happy hour, dinner, and live and silent auctions, plus a chance to win an Alumacraft fishing boat. To sign up and get more info, go to castingforkids.org. Casting4kids.org.
American Family Insurance is a lot like Captain America. He protects the world.
It's just doing my job.
And we help protect your dreams with amazing auto and home coverage. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com. And see Marvel Studios' Captain America: Brave New World.
Suit up. We need to move.
In theaters February 14th. This film is not yet rated.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
When you tell me I'm a wreck, you say that I'm a mess. How could you expect anything less? You're less strong to me than quite how strong you alone. I told you when you asked, I knew this wouldn't last.
844-770-3776. I'll delve into the YouTube comments here momentarily as well, but that is the Carbless talk and text line, 844-770-3776. Are you panicking? It's okay to admit it if you are. We'll talk you down. Brian's as calm as a cucumber. Cool as a cucumber. And are you disappointed that there was not even an iota of interest from the Packers side in Davante Adams? I can tell you that there was interest from Davante Adams' side. Not saying he would have signed here if they had been interested. But there was interest, and they never called. How does that make you feel as a Packers fan? 844-770-3776. Let's talk to Robert in Pennsylvania. Robert, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Jason. Hey, Blue.
How we doing?
Good. How are you? Yeah, I am not panicking, and I'm just slightly disappointed that Goody didn't at least kick the tires on Devontae, but I still feel that we got the guys on this roster to succeed. And in my opinion, I think the success 2 years ago again when we blew out Dallas and almost had San Fran, I think that unexpected expectations from last year, I think it got to them a little bit because we're young. So I think this year that receiver group, they're going to be a huge improvement. And so I think Goody may be thinking that and maybe pick up a couple other players here and there, but I think we have the guys on the roster to succeed.
How do you define succeed, Robert? Win Super Bowl 60?
Yeah, and here's how I would do it, Jason. If I was Matt LaFleur, I would call up Bill Belichick in North Carolina, and I would basically pick his brain on the Gronk-Hernandez offense, and I would make Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave superstars in this offense. Mm-hmm. And Jaden Reed could be the Wes Welker, make him a superstar. And then there's all those other guys, Wicks and if Romeo's around, and Bo Melton, let them be the role players. But we need to have the guys shine in this offense for it to succeed. And we could do that, and Jordan Love, doesn't get the turnovers and throw picks. I think we could make a run.
Well, I will say this, and great call, Robert. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
I did talk to somebody who works in the building who suggested that that's the way Matt LaFleur should go, is the idea of running an offense that goes through the tight ends. Look, Luke Musgrave's second season, both of his seasons, right? His first season short-circuited by a ruptured kidney, and then his second season with the ankle injury. We've seen glimpses of what he's capable of, but he's got to be able to stay on the field, and he's a sick athlete at his size. There's no doubt about it. And we all know what Tucker Kraft is made of now. And if he continues on the journey that he's currently on, he's going to be a big-time stud. He's already on the precipice of that. So,
yeah,
I don't know, Brian, are you on board with a tight end-centric offense if there's no upgrades at wide receiver?
So I'm okay with having a tight end-centric offense, but here's my only thing with that. In my time in Green Bay, it's never been done. I get it. That was a McCarthy to a LaFleur scheme. But even with the LaFleur scheme, that has not been something that's been done ever, right? And it hasn't been something. And you look at the LaFleur scheme and the Shanahan scheme and the McVay scheme throughout the league. Yeah, like Kittle's been, highlighted in San Francisco, but it's never been a tight end centric scheme. So what that looks like is interesting, right? Because now are we changing again? How does that look out? Now, that obviously is going to involve a lot of two tight end sets. That's a lot of, heavy looks. That's a lot of run game. That's a lot of play action. That could be a lot of, good looks that we're used to seeing, right? So it could work out in the Packers' favor in the long run, but it's just going to be different to see. But while I think it will be something that could, be really good, I just get concerned that if you don't have the certain amount of production from the wide receiver room, it could turn around and bite you at some point, right? And yes, I would love Reed or Wicks to be like Welker and Edelman. Yes, that would be amazing because obviously Welker and Edelman are amazing players, right? They're amazing players. They were awesome. I competed against those guys when they were on the Patriots. They were amazing players. They were studs. So yes, obviously that would be amazing. But you got to see that first, right? And you said it before the break, I think those guys have tons of talent. I think the potential is there. You just got to see it. So to transition to a tight end centric offense and rely on those guys to have that role, you got to see them show that they can have that role. And what that role is, you know this as well. You watch that offense in New England when they were doing that. That's dirty work. That's slants over the middle. That's those guys were not doing the flashy work, right? Like those were not fun routes to run. They got punished a lot with Welker and Edelman with the things that they had to do. I'm not saying that Reed and Wicks won't do that, but I'm just saying that you got to be prepared to go do that. Like that's something that you have to be mentally ready to go do. So that'll be a change, and if it works out, it'll look fantastic. So we'll see if that is the way they go, how it works out. I think it can, because we certainly have the tight ends for it. That's for sure. I think we do.
Let me ask you one other thing, and then we'll get to more calls on the other side. How challenging, you played for LaFleur for only one season, but you obviously came back and talked to the team. You know him. You've watched the film of every game he's coached. How hard is it to restructure your offense, to redesign it? I'm not saying he's got he's junking the whole thing that exists. I'm not saying that. But if that were to be the case, that he says, look, we got the guys we got at wide receiver. We're not really adding anybody. We've got two studs that we think can be really good, like, as Robert mentioned, Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, without the murder side of it. How do you go about fixing or altering an offense to change the emphasis? Is that a big ask, or is that not that big of a deal?
Well, it depends on how you're looking to utilize the tight ends, right? Like we know Musgraves is a freak athlete, right? So you can utilize him in a wide receiver type manner, right? So you can work him in the slot. You can work him technically out wide if you want to. I mean, you can do certain things in bunch formations, make him the point man and do different things. Well, Tucker Kraft is a little more Gronk type body, a little more traditional tight end, inline tight end, hand on the ground. He's very good in the run game as well. So you could look at it that way, or you could look at it from a very traditional two tight end set, both guys hand in the dirt, motion one in the backfield, make one the fullback, and kind of do things that way, right? And those are all things that LaFleur already has in the offense that they showed last year a little bit, not as much because obviously Musgraves was out for quite a while, and they were doing a lot of they were doing a lot of one tight end sets, and it got a little dicey when Jordan Love was out and Malik Willis was in, and they did a bunch of different things, and they were running so. He's just going to have to find that happy medium because at the same time, right, while you want to get these tight ends involved and you want to throw them the football and get them that, you want to make sure that we're still feeding Josh Jacobs. And you want to get the run game off the ground as well.
Right.
And while it sounds good that we have more tight ends on the field to block, that also means more bodies in the box to stop the run. So, like, you have to walk this line of if we want to go heavy in having two tight ends on the field, that means they're going to put bigger personnel on the field, which then means it's going to be more difficult to run the football because we're going to be seeing 7-man boxes, and then it's we're outnumbered in the box blocking. So, like, there's a lot to consider there when you want to feature two tight ends a lot. But he's smart, LaFleur, and he knows how to scheme things. He understands matchups. Steno's very smart. He understands matchups. If that's the route they want to go, they have plenty of time now to make that decision and start, tinkering with this thing in the offseason. There's going to be some changes. They're not going to be overly dramatic, but there's going to be some changes, and it's not going to be something that impacts the offensive line it's going to be what impacts the tight end room because they're going to be moved around. Probably their route tree is going to change a little bit. Things like that. It's going to be a little more dynamic, so to speak, right? They're going to be asked to do more. But besides that, everything's going to stay the same for everyone else. But it's a matter of scheming it up. So, I mean, it can be done. It's not like we're tossing everything out the window and bringing a new thing in. It's just kind of moving pieces around to make sure if we want to feature 2 tight ends, we got to find the right way to do it while still making sure that the guy, toting the rock that, was the focal point of this offense last year, still can be very dynamic again next year.
We'll continue this conversation. I know we've got a few calls on hold. There are lots and lots and lots of comments in the YouTube chat. It looks like X, Twitter, is back up, so if you want to join us over there, you can too, and join the conversation there. 844-770-3776. We'll get to more calls. Want to remind you, though, Associated Bank, whether the offense runs through the wide receiver or Josh Jacobs or Jordan Love running all the time, which we don't think we're going to see, or through the tight ends, Associated Bank is there no matter what. They've been the official bank of the Packers since they began, but they're more than just that. They're the official bank of you, making sure that they have the best customer service in the industry. They've got the awards to prove it, and I've got the experience to prove it. My guy Ben Sorensen always takes great care of us with our investments, everything we need. They are full service, and they have all the perks that you need, including credit monitor to make sure you're not a victim of fraud. They've got early pay where you get your direct deposit up to 2 days early, and over 30,000 surcharge-free ATMs. So go to AssociatedBank.com and find out what makes them different. More Wilde and Tausch straight ahead. Stick around.
We're on the Brewers.
They're really good at identifying talent. They're really good at developing talent.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
This is one of the best organizations in Major League Baseball.
100.5 ESPN.
Summer is coming, and it's time to start thinking about your summer job. Jesse Nelson here. Madison School and Community Recreation is now hiring for many positions, including day camp and youth program leaders, support staff for individuals with disabilities, sports instructors and officials, and more. Full and part-time positions with daytime and evening hours are available. No matter your interest, schedule, or location, there's a position for everyone. At MSCR, you can make an immediate impact in the community and gain meaningful experience. Start your summer adventure today. Apply at mscr.org.
Staying on Wisconsin sports never stops with the Jump Around podcast.
John Tonje, I don't think he is the pro prospect that Johnny Davis is, but I think John Tonje, I don't care portal or not, I think he is the most impactful recruit in the grade guard era.
When you're the first player since Michael Finley to go back-to-back games with scoring 30 points, that is great company for John Tonje to be in.
The Jump Around podcast with Jim Rutledge and Pablo Iglesias, streaming live every Thursday at 12:30 on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We are with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
From the biggest plays on the court to the comments made in the locker room after, an in-depth recap of every Bucks game in 6 minutes. No more, no less. Bucks in 6 provides game recaps for every game. Hear the high-flying dunks from Giannis.
Puts it on the floor, spins down the lane, and plunges it through.
Or the deep threes from Dame.
Dame time has arrived with 107.
Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. Find it now on bucks.com/plus or on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Ben Brust here to tell you about why your next work van should be from Mercedes-Benz Sprinter at Zimbrick European. First off, we have versatility. The Sprinter vans offer 16 body types and thousands of ways to customize that space. Number 2, we have reliability. Sprinter's most powerful diesel engines last longer and require less maintenance, spend more time on the road and less time in those bays. Number 3, we have safety. Sprinter's safety technologies include curtain airbags all around, load adaptive electronic stability program, and crosswind and attention assist. Number 4, Van Care Mobile. Our maintenance team can come to you with routine service. Who wants to go in? Let them come to you. They work with multiple trucks on one visit. Use the Mercedes Me Connect. And last but not least, get your Zimbrick Sprinter at Zimbrick European at Rimrock Road and the Beltline, or go online at ZimbrickEuropean.com because they never charge over the MSRP.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott Garrett and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
And Madison.
We're on the Badgers.
This is my concern, and it's not his fault. They just settled for shots.
Because we're on Wisconsin Sports.
And if you settle for shots, Tanjay specifically, that's going to hurt.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Hold on, I don't want to know what it's like when you're gone. I don't want to move on. I don't want to know what it's like when you're gone for good. You're slipping through my fingertips a little bit.
844-770-3776. Jesse, they're keeping you busy back there. We got a lot of calls.
It's like a day after a game on a Monday here.
We're going to have Bulaga Cousins sub more times when Tausch goes on that vacation because he's not going to get nearly enough airtime today.
It could be they just want to talk to Bulaga. That is a possibility we have.
Well, don't we all? I mean, let's be honest. He's a heck of a guy. It reminds me, I owed James Campen a text message, too. After you did your charity work with him, which was great, by the way. That was so much fun a couple weeks ago. All right, let's get back to the calls.
Can't wait for his Iowa basketball NCAA tournament preview. That'll be good.
It's funny. I don't even pay attention. So
irrelevant.
There's the preview.
Yeah, Jesse's going to make some wisecrack about the Iowa football offense, and then we'll all be awkward, and then we'll move on. All right, let's get to calls. Let's start. We are all over the map. Look at this. We started in what, Pennsylvania?
Mm-hmm.
California, Tulsa, Dallas, Wauwatosa, Waukesha. Let's start with Isaiah in California. Isaiah, good morning. Thanks for holding on. What do you got?
Good morning, guys. First, Bryan Bulaga, love you, man. Love you a lot. Thank you for being with Green Bay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And first, I wanted to say to everybody that's listening, all the Packer fans especially, Green Bay, our GM, if y'all know them, really, they was not about to go get DK Metcalf and give him all that money and even spend a second-round pick on him. They weren't going to do that at all when it came down to DK Metcalf. So I don't think anybody should have really been worried about that too much. It was just too much. $150 million. Green Bay's not going to do that, especially when we already know that they constantly go out and draft wide receivers in second and third rounds and stuff like that. So they will not give up no second-round pick and $150 million for 5 years. They won't do that. And DK Metcalf is a mess. That's not the type of people they're going to have in Green Bay.
Yeah. Never seemed like a fit to me either. I'm with you on that, Isaiah.
Yeah. And Devontae Adams, it seemed like he just got everything that he wanted. At first, it seemed like he was saying that he wanted to be in Green Bay in a way. Like, he was, like, encouraging Jordan Love and saying Jordan Love looks good, how he's throwing the ball and everything. Like, he was saying certain things like that. It seemed like he did want to come back out or something, but he also got everything that he wanted in Los Angeles. He wanted to be out there in Los Angeles. He got the money he wanted out there in Los Angeles. And it seemed like the Rams also get to keep that quarterback because the quarterback got a good weapon as well. So it seemed like Devontae Adams got everything he wanted. So when it just comes down to the draft, on my side, it just seems like I don't know if they're going to go after an offensive weapon to help that wideout group or if they're going to continue to pick defensive weapons. And that's, in my eyes, the main struggle, because we need help on one of those sides, either wide out or is, I believe the main thing people have been saying is the defensive line. And so I think those are like one of the main two things that we need help out with, and then it'll come down to draft. So there's a lot of good guys.
And look, Isaiah, you expressed your appreciation for Bryan, which we all feel the same as Isaiah does, and thanks for the call. But as Bryan has talked about, they also need to replenish their offensive line depth. Like, not just necessarily for this season, but you got 60% of your offensive line heading into their walk years on contracts. Now, we all agree we think that Zach Tom will get a lucrative extension, maybe not as big as Penei Sewell, but still a big extension. But what are you going to do at left tackle? Is Jordan Morgan going to step in there? Are they going to just let Rasheed Walker walk in free agency? Are they going to let Sean Ryan walk the way they let John Runyon walk and the way we think they're going to let Josh Myers walk? Like, this is a team that has made the playoffs each of the last 2 years as the 7th seed, has some good things going for it, but also has some challenges from a personnel perspective. And improving the wide receiver room is going to be a challenge through free agency because there's not a lot of great options now. That's why I was, other than the fact that I like Devontae, it just made so much sense. But not to Goody, it didn't. But the other options in free agency aren't great, Bryan, and it's not a great draft class either, so that makes me wonder what they're going to do there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear, right? And this isn't like a bad, it's not a bad strategy, but I think you just look at the way it kind of goes, like unless it's a quarterback or maybe a kicker and, guys that are 30 plus, they're not coming to Green Bay. Like that's just the way it's going to go. And whether you like it or not, that's the strategy, right? Like until this team gets to a place, I think, where Goody has it, where it is established, it is kind of clicking on its own. It's going to stay in this young, first contract-ish type phase, and that's where it's going to be. So for us to think, or for me to even think that a guy like Tay would even be in the discussion, maybe that's naive of me, but it was maybe wishful thinking. Maybe it was wishful thinking. But I mean, listen, and it's not me like knocking Goody's strategy. I mean, hey, he stuck to it. Like you said, they made the playoffs the last 2 years. They're making a transition from a Hall of Fame quarterback. That's not easy. And while they're doing it, they're making the playoffs. I know we all want more. We all want, of course we all want more. We expect more from the Green Bay Packers. We all want Super Bowls and this and that. Like, I understand all that. Mm-hmm. But it's not easy making that transition, right? Like the Steelers made that transition from Ben Roethlisberger, and look where they're at still.
Right.
It's not easy. So I'm just looking at how he's going about it, and you can't say he's wrong. So I think it's more for us as fans and kind of more nostalgic that, hey, you wish he was back, but he's not, or wish the conversation was there. But you just kind of the 30 and over thing, it's probably not happening for a while now.
Another example of a 30-something that some of us thought maybe would make sense, including another Iowa guy. Our friend Matt Bowen at ESPN had suggested this guy made sense for the Packers. He is off the board as well. I will tell you who it is, and we will get to more of your calls next with Bryan Bulaga as our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Brewers baseball is in the air.
It's back, and it is up, and it is gone. A walk-off homer for Vinny Capra.
Spring back into the baseball season on 100.5 ESPN, Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Mark Tauscher here for the great team at Everlight Solar. Well, you know what month it is. Make sure your March is filled with busting brackets, not busting the bank with your energy bill. I'm here to tell you can save money and help save the planet with an easy switch to Everlight Solar. Our family is one of many who have made the switch to solar over the last several years. But when we first started, we weren't exactly sure what to do. That's when we met the great team at Everlight Solar, and they outlined the entire process and educated us on the benefits of making the switch. It was super simple. Join us in saving a ton of money and creating a greener environment for our family and the community by switching to solar. Learn more and schedule a free consultation at everlightsolar.com. That's everlightsolar.com.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to badgerlandchevy.com. One step closer. Hunter Wohler, one of 9 Badgers participating in Wisconsin's Pro Day. From Senior Bowl to the Combine in Indy, Wohler on stopping to smell those roses.
Once I got back up to my room, I was able to sit down and just kind of think and be thankful, because that was, you do the Senior Bowl and then the Combine's the next big thing, and it's like, there's a lot riding on it and you can prove yourself in a big way. And so I got back to my room and I was just kind of thankful for the way this journey has gone, and just thankful for, all the people that have helped me get here.
Watch our full catch-up with Hunter Wohler on ESPN Madison's YouTube channel.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
As a bull rider, I prefer to do things single-handedly. That's why I love the UW Credit Union app. Doggy! It lets me check accounts, make transfers and more on the go. And if I need an extra hand, UW Credit Union has convenient local branches. Yippee! So, if you want simple mobile banking, mosey on over to UW Credit Union. They're here for every y'all. Federally insured by NCUA.
The GRB Rays have established themselves as one of the top baseball programs in the Midwest and the country. GRB Academy offers training programs for players of all ages and skill levels. Learn from some of the best baseball coaches in the area and find the program that fits your training goals and your schedule. Spots are filling up fast, so visit grbacademy.com to sign up now. That's grbacademy.com. GRB Academy, baseball for the serious player.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Teachers are diverse, skilled leaders, innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Teaching shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
Switch on the sky and the stars glow for you. Go see the world 'cause it's all so brand new. Don't close your eyes 'cause your future's ready to shine. It's just a matter of time before we learn how to fly.
All right, we got a lot of calls we want to get to, but a little bit more news from the NFL now that, Twitter's working. You did not cross over with him during your illustrious Chargers career, but you blocked him at some point in your career. Khalil Mack returning to the Chargers, 1 year, fully guaranteed $18 million for this season. Makes a lot of sense since they moved on from Joey Bosa, but that was another name that some, including Matt Bowen, had suggested might be a Packers-type pickup. Well, he's 34 years old. if they weren't picking up Devontae, they certainly were not picking up Khalil Mack. So, again, my I want Devontae did not work out. I'm assuming that me saying Trey Hendrickson's name out loud, as I saw in the YouTube comments, means that won't happen either. But that's the next guy on my list. That's the guy I'm interested in. He seems to be about the right stuff. He's worked his tail off to become one of the best pass rushers in the league, and he is available for trade. He didn't go to Iowa. He went to Florida Atlantic, FAU. But he kind of seems like an Iowa guy.
Yeah, he does. He kind of has that Iowa type attitude to him. But I think about him when he pass rushes with no gloves on. It kind of gives me the oh God, what is he doing?
Tausch, hey, so let's do this. We'll get to more calls at the top of the 10 o'clock hour. So if you're on hold, I know there's at least 4 or 5 of you. Stay there, I promise. But Tausch brought this up too. What does that mean? For those of us that have never played offensive or defensive line, the fact that he doesn't wear gloves, does that mean he's going to have really bad arthritis and mangled fingers when he's older, or what?
No, man, it's just he just tough. Because dude, with those guys, how they're let's just be real. When you're on the offensive and defensive line, your fingers and hands get put in places that you don't want them. And it's not that you're putting them there purposely. They just happen to go there. And the gloves they don't provide a bunch of protection, but they provide some padding where if your fingers get caught in between face masks and shoulder pads, or face masks and face masks, it provides a little bit of protection, right? Just like some. So when you see guys with no gloves, you just kind of look at them a little funky, man, what is it? What, this guy all right? He's got a couple screws loose. But him as a pass rusher, I've seen him because I remember going against him when he was younger. I went against him when he was at the Chargers. I went against him when I was in Green Bay. Seen him just get better and better and better and better. And he is a heck of a pass rusher now. And it makes absolutely no sense why the Bengals would even make him they are right now as a team. But okay, because I'll tell you what, there's one thing that you can't find in the NFL, or it's very hard to find. It's quarterbacks, it's offensive tackles, it's pass rushers, and it's corners. They're very hard to find, and when you have them, you have to keep them. So the fact that they're really willing to let one go, that's very crazy to me. But okay.
844-770-3776. We will get to your calls to top off the 10 o'clock hour after Jesse tells us about Prize Picks. Are you going to do Tausch's voice? Are you going to do your Mark Tauscher here?
Of course I am, Jason.
Okay.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you about Prize Picks. It's the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states. The app is really easy to use. To create a lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stats for your shot to win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Combine your favorite basketball players with players from baseball, hockey, esports, and more. Second half of the basketball season is here. Of course, conference tournaments all this week, and the race to the playoffs is heating up at the pro level. The best place to cash in on your favorite sports is Prize Picks. Don't miss your chance to cash in as the league's best fight for the playoff positioning goes on right now. Download the app today. Use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Oh boy, I have to do this now too. Prize Picks, run your game.
Well done, Jesse. Well done. All right, we will get to more of your calls. 844-770-3776. Bryan Bulaga is our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs. We believe in better. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for Kohler Services. Well, if you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now is the time to turn to Kohler Service. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. And this month only, get $1,000 off your Lugstone shower remodel and no payment financing until 2026. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote. With fast, professional installation always included. Again, that's KohlerServicesWI.com.
This is former Wisconsin linebacker Chris Orr. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison, a good Karma Brands radio station on Wisconsin.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison for generations. Check them out, 220 State Street and online at goodmansjewelers.com. It's all about the free agency frenzy today. NFL free agency legal tampering period officially opening a little bit later today. Technically, free agency officially opens on Wednesday, but a lot of news already coming last night. Davante Adams to the Los Angeles Rams on a 2-year deal. Myles Garrett signs a big contract to stay in Cleveland with the Browns. DK Metcalf traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers where he signs a 5-year contract extension. Whole lot to talk about and dissect. The Green Bay Packers not part of any of it, at least for now. Wilde and Tausch with Jason Wilde and cousin sub of the day, Bryan Bulaga, continues throughout the morning until noon here on 100.5 ESPN. That's not all. At 12:15, catch the Mr. Irrelevant free agency special. Alex Strofe, Jason Wilde, Josh DiMaggio from 12:15 to about 1:45 with a little bonus content today to help cover free agency. Check that out exclusively streaming on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 10 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch begins now with Bryan Bulaga in as our cousin sub of the day for Tausch. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Our buddy Rob Domofsky of ESPN.com posting this a few minutes ago. Don't get your hopes up. It's not any sort of free agent edition. He does run down, though, the list of players who have roster bonuses due when the league year opens on Wednesday. I don't think any of these guys are, I don't want to pay that. We're going to be moving on from them. But a lot of times that is a mechanism that leads to decisions, right, Brian? So ranked in order of amounts, and as Rob points out, the Packers can convert these to signing bonuses, spread out the cap charge into multiple years, and create extra cap space to not spend on Davante Adams. Rashawn Gary, $8.7 million. Xavier McKinney, $8.5 million. Kenny Clark, $7.5 million. I'm not saying at all, but that caught my eye. Josh Jacobs, $5.9 million. Keyshawn Nixon, $2.8 million. Lucas Van Ness, $1.2 million. And Jordan Morgan has a $479,000 roster bonus due on Wednesday. So here's my question for you, Brian. The one name that's not on there is Jair Alexander. So there is no deadline per se of they have to make a decision on him. So while we've heard reports that they are open to trading him, they don't have to do it at any breakneck pace because there's no roster bonus that forces a decision. Does that lead you to believe that we may not know Jair's fate for quite a while, and maybe even somehow, some way, he ends up still being on this roster in 2025?
That's what I kept having a question about, and I don't think that they're going to take this thing all the way to training camp and allow him to stay on the roster. I don't think Green Bay's going to do that because, obviously we know, or I mean, I would assume, right? You would assume, I would assume, most people would assume that he's probably going to stay away from the team if he knows they're actively shopping him, right? Like, I mean, he's not going to come to team activities and things like it's not going to be a good environment. We'll just put it that way. If that, if they don't make a move, so to speak. I would imagine they'll probably give this, maybe you would know how they handle these things better, Jason, maybe to the draft, because maybe that can be some, maybe another time where deals get made, maybe players and picks, at draft time. They could maybe take it to then. And then after that, I don't see a scenario where they would continue to hold on to him, because at that point, right, he has a workout bonus. So he could technically show up and work out and start to collect or start to put days in to a workout bonus. And what could technically, and I don't want to get like into the NFLPA stuff and technicalities here, but he could get into where he shows up, starts showing up to his workout days, and something happens and they tell him you need to go away, and all of a sudden now there's an issue, right? There's an issue with what's happening. And now that the PA gets you just don't want to get down into that, into that situation. And the Packers normally never get into that situation, and they won't get in, and Goody won't get into that situation, but they're going to try to get something for him. Right. Like, I mean, they're going to try. But I think we're seeing the market may just not be there for a pick. Teams are just going to go, hey, man, we kind of know you're probably going to end up releasing him. So why would we give you capital for him? And that's kind of where they're at with it. But maybe we're wrong. We've been wrong on a lot of things so far. So maybe we're wrong there too.
I don't like to emphasize that, but we were right about DK Metcalf. Both of us did not think that made sense. So give us 1 point for that. All right, let's get to some calls here. 844-770-3776. Let's go to Brandon in Tulsa. Brandon, thanks for holding on, buddy. What do you got for us today?
The Tulsa King.
Hey, good morning,
Let's
guys.
do it.
Jason, real quick, congrats on the new job at Channel 3000. I hadn't had a chance to call in since you left the Journal-Sentinel, so congrats on that. Happy for you.
Thank you, and make sure you keep clicking the links.
We'll do it for sure. So when I saw that Goody hadn't reached out to Adams at all, it was weird to me. It's weird to me because it looks like a personal decision, not a football business decision. I mean, Adams is still a top 10, probably higher, but in my opinion, a top 10 wide receiver in the league who's not asking for max money. And the fact that your GM didn't think that guy deserved any call whatsoever tells me this is a personal decision based on history. He's not a bad locker room guy. We know that Devontae's a great locker room guy. He's got no legal troubles in the past. So refusing to call out tells me the way our relationship ended 3 years ago is something that he couldn't get over. And I don't like that. Like, I want Goody to make cold business decisions. Personal history doesn't matter. If you can make our team better, I'm going to inquire and do my due diligence. So the no contact is crazy to me, because if there's anybody not named Davante Adams, I feel like he would have reached out at least. Like, you can't say that Adams is asking for too much because you never talked to the guy. We have no idea what he would have accepted from Green Bay to come back home to play with Jordan. So I didn't like the fact that that decision was made. I'm not a GM, but didn't like it. My question to Bryan is, because, Bryan, you played in the locker room, the fact that Jordan and Josh Jacobs campaigned so hard to get Adams back, do you think that's going to cause any issue with the wide receivers who are here going forward? Now that we know Devontae's not coming back to the locker room, are these guys going to go into training camp or the summer programs and have that between Jordan and Josh? I mean, the first time somebody drops the ball and Jordan tries to say something, are they going to say, well, I guess, you wish your buddy Devontae was here so he was, catching all these passes. I mean, I'd like to think these guys are all consummate pros, but at the same time, they are young. And after what Romeo went through last year, I'm a little concerned that might be a rift in the locker room going forward because they know that their QB and their running back wanted somebody else in there that they aren't, quote unquote, good enough. And the last thing, and Brian, you can answer that, but the last thing, I don't know what we could do this offseason to make us a Super Bowl contender. I don't think we're one player away. That said, if we don't do anything in free agency this year, it's kind of concerned me about Goody feels no need to rush say his job is secure no matter who the team president is. And I want everybody constantly wondering, you know what, is the job I'm doing good enough? Because if it's not, I'm replaceable. I want that sense of urgency. And it's kind of looking like Goody's, not on cruise control, but he's like, I've got this. It doesn't matter what we do. My plan is still in play, and I've got nothing to worry about. Thanks for taking the call.
Brandon, great questions. I love them. Let's address the first one first, Brian, and the idea that Josh Jacobs and Jordan Love and Keyshawn Nixon were all pushing for Davante Adams. I'm curious, basically on two sides of Brandon's question. On the one side, is there any sort of ill will is strong, but as he asked, with the current wide receivers toward those guys pushing for that? And on the flip side, are those guys irritated that despite their desire for the Packers to at least pursue Davante, that is Josh Jacobs going, hey, man, I was trying to recruit this guy. You never even called him. So there's kind of it's a double-edged thing there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting dynamic because on one end, let's be real here, right? So let's go to in the past, right? Normally, when Aaron, Green Bay doesn't draft first-round receivers. We know that, right? That's been something that we know way back in the past. They haven't done that. But normally when Aaron wanted one of his receivers re-signed or wanted to make sure one of his guys stayed, it got done, right? Like it was something that always happened. There was no questions asked. And I'm not talking like guys that had no business staying. I mean, good players, right? So when the quarterback, and Jordan Love was a little more politically correct about it than I would say Josh Jacobs was. So
fair.
Jacobs was a little more blunt about it than Jordan Love was, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. Homer and I talked about it. Homer didn't like it, but I'm okay with it. I'm sure, Jacobs has had the conversation with the two wideouts. But normally when the quarterback feels a certain way, maybe the GM does try to make things happen for that reason, right? Like he does try to make something happen for his franchise quarterback that he paid all this money to make it work in that situation to improve that quarterback's, dynamic with his receivers. Because in the long run, if you bring in a guy like that, it's going to help the other guys that are in that room too. Make no mistake about it. It helps the other guys in the room. Even though those guys may not like it at the time, they don't like it at the given time that it happens. It will benefit them in the long run. But to go back to this, I don't think there will be, maybe this tension that people may think there is. I mean, this is business. As a player, you have to know every single year, right? And I felt it when I was in Green Bay. Every single year, I felt that the team, that if I didn't play good enough the year prior, that Aaron, even though he might not have been thinking it, they want to bring in a better right tackle. Mm-hmm. That's what they want to do. They want to bring in someone better. They want to bring in someone younger. That was my thought always. And if you don't go out there and deliver the goods every single year, it's why I was always nervous. Like I tore my ACL in 2013. I was coming back on a contract year, had to deliver goods. Tore my ACL in 2017. came back in 18, McCarthy got fired. Had no idea if LaFleur and that staff was going to keep me, right? Like, had no idea if they were going to even let me stay around. But played well enough in 18 and played well in 19 with that staff. So, like,
and then
you
they got
have
rid
to
of
be able. Then they got rid of me. Exactly. Then I didn't come back. So, but like, you have to constantly deliver the goods, and like, that's just Josh Jacobs wanting the best players in house. That's all it is. Like, that's really all this comes down to, is good players wanting good players in house. And if the wide receiver room, you know, if they're all about winning, which it's not like at the beginning of the year, all these guys, when they were talking to you and Domofsky and all these guys, all they said they want to do is want to win. Then you want the best players in house. You want to be around the best guys possible. So if that is bringing in Devontae and people are outspoken about it, that shouldn't bother you. There shouldn't be animosity towards that. You should feel like, hey, yeah, now there's a little more competition in the room. I got to elevate my game because there is that type of guy in here. But there shouldn't be animosity towards that. And you know what? If you do feel a certain type of way about it, have a conversation with Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
Have a conversation with Jordan Love. Don't make this thing bigger than what it should be. Because now no one got brought in, right? Clearly, no one got brought in. So let's not make this thing like an issue. Let's not make this thing a problem. There doesn't need to be a problem. Let's be professionals here, and let's go. Hey, because now, depending on if they bring in anyone or not, right? It's us in this room, right? It's the receivers now that we got. It's the quarterback and the running back and the tight end. It's us. We got to go deliver the goods. It's us. It's up to us to get this thing done. No one else is coming in. This is what we got. So
right.
It's up to you guys and me now to figure this thing out, and that's the way you got to look at it.
Yeah, and we know LaFleur's motto, standards over feelings. And if your feelings are hurt that Josh Jacobs thought you needed a number one receiver, get over it and play to the standard of a number one receiver. Let's take another call here. I know we got Jamon and Jason waiting. Let's go to Jamon in Dallas first. Good morning, Jamon. How are you, man?
Good. How you doing?
We're good. Thanks for holding on so long. What are you thinking this morning?
Well, Moody not reaching out to Devontae, wasn't really surprised by that. It's not the Goodyest thing to do. Devontae 32.
You're right.
Yeah, he's still talented, but it's just not Goody thing. I mean, he let the guy walk 3 years ago for a reason. So,
Jamon, before you get to your point, let me interrupt you briefly, because I was saying this to somebody yesterday. 32 is not old. It's just old in Green Bay. Like, Reggie White was 31 when the Packers signed him. 31 when they signed him originally in 1993. And I know it's 2025 now, but like, Khalil Mack is 35. He's back on a one-year deal with the Chargers. Like, I hate the fact that a guy who still clearly can play is now viewed as too old, at least in our little corner of the NFL world. And obviously the Rams don't think 32 is too old, and I'm guessing there were other teams that had interest in him as well. But do you think 32 is old, or are you just saying that that's just what you're used to because that's what Goody thinks?
Yeah, it's just the Goody thing. I mean, they got rid of Christian Smith. I mean, he wasn't doing too good, but I mean, once he hit 30, he got rid of everybody who just turns over 30. Sorry, Brian, it happened to you too. Once you get old, we're not even old.
Hey,
once
man.
you get to up in age with Goody, he's going to let you go. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're right.
Hey,
All right, sorry to interrupt.
Hey, man, feelings not hurt. Don't worry. You're just speaking facts.
I feel like our receiver group, I feel like we have talent. I feel like we're very versatile. Once we get this offensive thing clicking, because I think it has more to do with the coaching and the quarterback than it does receivers. I mean, we can open up a play action. I mean, you got guys. I mean, Malik Willis had no problem finding Jaden Reed downfield. So, I mean, we have the talent. You have the tight ends. We have the running back. I mean, like I said, we're versatile everywhere. It's just up to the team to just start clicking like it's supposed to. I mean, we're year 2. Well, now we're entering year 3 of the rebuild. So hopefully guys take big steps. Then next year, guys don't take steps after the 3rd year of the rebuild. Then we start making those decisions on who's getting signed, who's getting let go, who's getting picked up. Then I think we make those decisions next year. But this year, I think we give it one more chance. I think we add on a few pieces on defense. Mm-hmm. If you ask me, I say we keep Jair because there's not too many options. I know he's a liability because he gets hurt so much, but I mean, Keyshawn Nixon is a liability with him out there on his own. So I mean, I think we just take that chance with Jair. We go draft the guy like we should do, regardless if we let Jair go or not. We should still go draft the cornerback, and we just try to run it all again.
Yeah, first of all, and great points, J-Mon. We appreciate the call, buddy, and thanks for holding on for so long. Look, I talked to somebody yesterday in the building who insists that Jair could still play, and I don't disagree, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if he plays, he can play. But I would also say this, and this was part of our conversation, that if you expect him to tackle, it's just never happening anymore. And you played with him during the era that he was aggressive. You played with him. Yeah. He was, for an undersized corner, he was not afraid to stick his face in there and get after guys. And then he got trucked by Najee Harris during that game in 2021, and he's never been the same since. And I don't blame him because he threw his shoulder in there and he got it all jacked up. And like Deion Sanders taught us, I'm here to cover guys. I'm not here to tackle. Well, in this defense, you got to be able to tackle, and I'm not sure if that'll mean that they move on from Jair or not, because I do think that's also a factor in addition to his lack of availability and being a little bit out there as well. All right, I want to get to more calls, and I want to ask Brian this. So, Brian, think about this. Somebody brought it up earlier. I think it was Mike, or maybe it was Brandon in Tulsa. Always in the conversation. I always want to be in the conversation. That's what Goody said when he first got the job. And yet there was no conversation about Devontae at all. So maybe not in every conversation. We'll talk about that and get to more of your calls next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
At UW Credit Union, our home loans have everything you need for your next big step, including up to $750 off closing costs for all home buyers. And first-time buyers can save even more. So if you're ready to trade roomies for more room, or your townhome for an out-of-town home, UW Credit Union will be with you from start to furnished. UW Credit Union. Apply online today. Equal housing lender. Credit may be limited as required by program. Visit uwcu.org for details.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We are with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious crash? It's free. Yes, free. As in it won't cost you anything to speak with us. Not sure if you have a case? Call our team at Gruber Law Offices today. Your first call and your first consultation are always free. And you'll never pay us a fee until we win your case. If you've been seriously injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
Join me, Hunter Vaughn, and the Dean, Dennis Summerow, for the sectional round of the boys basketball tournament this Thursday night. The Verona Wildcats are making their first sectional appearance since 2015. On the other side, it's the Wanakee Warriors looking to move one step closer to the state tournament at the Kohl Center. Pre-game coverage is at 6:30, tip-off at 7 p.m. this Thursday night exclusively on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Welcome to the Chevy Lightning Round. Guess the clues to win. First team, you're up.
Powerful, commanding, unstoppable.
Silverado.
Adventurous, fun, techie.
Trailblazer.
Stylish, nimble.
Tracks.
Innovative, electric.
Blazer EV. Lightning Round champions. You've guessed all the right Chevy clues.
Wherever the year takes you, explore it together in the Chevy of your choice. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you how to save money and save the planet. It's simple. Ditch your energy bill and make the switch over to Everlight Solar. While electricity prices keep rising, Everlight Solar will give you the chance to take ownership of your power while also reducing your carbon footprint. As a local company based out of Madison, they'll be there with you every step of the way as you make the switch to solar. To learn more about how you can save money and save the planet, go to everlightsolar.com.
We're on the Bucks
He's one of those guys that can absolutely dominate. He can activate that MVP mode.
because we're on Wisconsin sports.
And you know when Giannis is right, he can carry his team across the finish line.
Madison's home of the Bucks, 100.5 ESPN.
I remember the nights when we were young, dumb, and wild and free. When I closed my eyes, I could see you in my sweatshirt, dancing around that college bar. These days I don't know where you are, but I get to keep these memories forever. Oh, I remember. Oh, I remember.
All right, let's get to a couple more calls because everyone, I don't like making you guys wait, and I apologize for that, but we got a lot to cover, and we are 31 minutes from the opening of free agency negotiating window opening. I hate the term legal tampering because it's tampering is tampering, and it was, the fact, I remember, was it Bart Scott that like the Jets showed up at his door like at 12:01 a.m. on the free agency day with a contract just waiting for his signature? We all knew that this stuff was going on, but now they're just doing it before the window opens. Like they're doing it, right? So it's not. The tampering continues, but the official opening of the window is a half hour away in free agency. All right, let's go to Jason in Wauwatosa. Jason, thanks for holding on. Good morning. Are you panicking and are you disappointed with the window that hasn't even opened yet?
Jason, I called on Friday talking about the wide receiver position, so I'll follow up by my
That was a
point,
great call. We even used it in a tweet. It was so good.
Well, the Final Four, as we talked about in the NFC last year, were Philly with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Detroit with Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, Washington with Terry McLaurin. They've added Deebo Samuel. The Rams with Puka Nacua. They added Devontae Adams. There was a fifth team that was, by any objective measure, better than the Packers last year. They have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison at wide receiver. There's lots of high-profile and first-round picks in that group of 10 receivers. So I'm not panicked, and I'm not disappointed by Goody's latest inability to stock the wide receiver position because Keith failed for not going on 8 years. Brian was talking about how difficult the transition is to Jordan Love. Brian, he had 5 years of Aaron Rodgers as Hall of Fame quarterback, and he failed at the wide receiver position. At this point, Goody is who he is. We're going to be the youngest team. we're going. He hasn't traded a single round 1 through 5 pick for a single player, wide receiver, anywhere. We're going to be young, and we're going to keep all our draft picks. And we're going to be watching the Super Bowl from home again next year.
Jason with his crystal ball.
Oh, snap.
Look, here's the thing. Thanks for the call, Jace. Look, he's right, Brian. Like, what's that old saying? When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Like, and look, in 28 minutes, we could have a barrage of free agent signings, right? It was on the opening day of free agency last year that the moving pieces all occurred of Josh Jacobs, then no Aaron Jones, then Xavier McKinney. But this is year 8 for Goody. And you had 2019 when they brought in the 2 Smith brothers, Adrian Amos and Billy Turner. And you had this past year with Jacobs and with McKinney. But otherwise, like, there was in 18 the swap out of Jimmy Graham to replace Jordy Nelson, which was a mistake. But beyond that, like, more often than not, there's not a lot going on today for the Packers, and today's probably going to be like that as well, right?
I would guess, yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know the list of free agents. I mean, maybe I should be looking into that more.
No, you're a film guy. You're not a list guy.
Yeah, I'm not much of a list guy, but it's probably going to be that way, I would guess. So it would appear that they're probably going to be more of that, day 3 or 4 of free agency where they kind of
the bargain bin.
Yeah, where they're trying to find guys that are a little more on the undervalued side would be my guess, right? Where they can find guys that need to prove it type year, right? Like, and they bring those types of guys in, which sometimes you could find guys that are hungry, that you can get good value for guys, and they can play a pivotal role, but that's not guaranteeing a home run, right? Like, and you don't even know if those guys sometimes even make the roster. So it just depends. And you see with the last caller was on the wide receiver room and all the other guys around the league and all these other teams that are good around the league with these receiver rooms. There was never a need, I guess, so to speak, to rebuild the wide receiver room with Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers, made the wide receiver room good, right? And for the longest time, the wide receiver room was drafted really well, right? Like, I mean, let's be dead honest. Like, I mean, there were good wide receivers constantly in there. They developed and they were good, and they stayed around for a long time. So, like, it's hard to say, like, there were 5 years of Aaron that, the wide receiver room the cupboard was bare. I mean, Devontae was there for a while still. So I understand where he's coming from, right? Like, there's never going to be first round draft picks at wide receiver. It's just, Green Bay just doesn't look at that position as that, and I don't know how they rank their, how they do their values with the first round picks and all that kind of stuff. But, like, the wide receiver position just isn't there. You know what I mean? For some reason, It's just not there. So we're not going to see that. But they've been very successful picking guys in the second and third round. So, like, they're not going to stray away from that philosophy. And that's what we got to live with. I mean, that's the way it's going to be.
I would just say this, after the conversation that I had with somebody that works in the building yesterday, I do think, and they agreed with me, that I think they underestimated what moving on from Devontae was going to do to them. I do. And this is 3 years, right? Because it was the 22 season was the first year without him. And Alan Lazard was your number 1. And we all like Alan Lazard around here. Matt LaFleur loved him because he was do the dirty work, called him a goon in the nicest possible way. But the fact that you went into a season with him as your number one wide receiver and 3 rookies that you drafted, I don't want to go so far as to call it malpractice, but there's a reason why you didn't make the playoffs in 2022. And if you had Devontae Adams, even with Rodgers' broken thumb, you probably still make the playoffs. Do you make the Super Bowl? No, probably not. But, I mean, now we are 3 years in, and now it'll be the 4th year post-Devontae, and you're still waiting for Christian Watson, who now is injured and going to be coming back at the back end of the season. You still don't know exactly what Romeo Doubs is, because Romeo Doubs is a talented cat. But he's also a different cat. He's a little weird, frankly. And it's hard to know what to expect from him.
He's different. I mean, he's different. And unfortunately, I don't know the guy. I'm not in the locker room with the guy. But unfortunately, what happened this year with him not coming into work. I'm not there to know the situation. I can only see it from the outside. And I've never been a part of that as a player. I don't know what to think of that, right? That's different to me. That's something that's very different to me.
Where's Tausch saying, I thought he was the most even-keeled player you ever covered, Jason?
Yeah, he's off today, but I would say this. I don't love using that word about a player, and I might have been trying to find a different word back then, because he is different. He's different. And, look, he is talented. Let's not get that twisted. He's got really good hands. He gets open. He's not afraid, at least until the 2 concussions, he has not been afraid of contact. That's another thing to worry about with him. As Tausch would say, I don't think they're going to pay him now because they don't know what to believe. But, hey, he can make himself a lot of money this year. Maybe not from the Packers, but he can make himself a lot of money if he just puts his head down and works his tail off and is productive. My point is that we are now entering a 4th year of no clear number one. And for all of our talk about the Friends ensemble cast, they are still waiting for someone. And maybe it's Reed and maybe it's Wicks, but maybe it's not. And the one guy that I think is still capable of being that guy tore his ACL in a game that he wasn't even supposed to play, but Romeo Doubs was sick, and they played Christian Watson, and he blew out his ACL in a game that they weren't intending to play him in. And that sucks. So I want to get into that conversation about being in the conversation. We'll do that coming up next. If Tausch was here, he would remind you that life is busy, and he would give this chicken, potatoes for sale spiel about Quick Trip. I'm just going to tell you this. We love Quick Trip. Sydney was at a volleyball tournament on Saturday, and there was a Quick Trip half a mile away from the facility. Went and got her extra Gatorade, some watermelon, a pretzel to snack on, a bagel, everything we needed. It was right there at Quick Trip. And look, Quick Trip gets it. Whether you're craving fresh coffee, a tasty bakery treat, or a quick grab-and-go meal or snack, Quick Trip is your go-to. It was for us on Saturday. Food's here. Quick Trip has a variety of apps and meals ready when you are. You can grab ready-to-go Don's Pizzas for a quick, tasty dinner. 4 for $10 or $3.99 each. But wait, you can also grab Quickery hot dogs or hamburger buns for only 99 cents a package, and Nature's Touch milk for just $2.99, or Urge chips and popcorn, 2 for $3.50. And if Tausch tells me one more time about the soup, I'm going to get the soup. Warm up with soup bags on special, $6.99 every Tuesday, and you never, ever hear Tausch talk about anything but the chicken deals. Roasted whole chickens on special for $6.99 every Monday. So whether it's a quick bite or dinner on the go, Quick Trip is your ultimate destination. Fuel your day with quality taste. Download the Quick Trip Rewards app and take advantage of all Quick Trip has to offer. Quick rewards every time you visit. Plus, you can order ahead for pickup or curbside delivery. Quick Trip. We'll see you next time. More with Bryan Bulaga, our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Mark Tauscher here for Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie, the name you can trust. Well, if we asked the experts to project a seeded bracket of auto dealers, we would know for sure that Zimbrick Chevrolet would be a number one seed. Whether you're in need of a quick tune-up or a minor repair from the outstanding service team, or it's time to begin the process of buying a new or used vehicle with a friendly salesperson, Zimbrick Chevrolet is truly the name you can trust. But you don't have to just take my word for it. Stop by Main Street in Sun Prairie to see for yourself why Zimbrick Chevrolet is consistently recognized as a best of Madison operation. And to see service options or to check out new and used vehicle inventory, start by logging on to ZimbrickChevrolet.com to see all that Zimbrick has to offer. A slam dunk number one seed for any auto experience. Zimbrick Chevrolet on Main Street in Sun Prairie. The name you can trust.
We ask and you answer. Tune in to Jim, Matt, and Molly every weekday 4 to 6 and follow at Jim, Matt, Molly on X to vote in daily poll questions presented by Siding Unlimited. Trust Siding Unlimited with your next window and door project.
As you're putting your spring calendar together, we'd love to have you join us Saturday, May 17th for Marco Siki's 7th annual Casting for Kids Fishing Tournament to support the American Family Children's Hospital UW Carbone Cancer Center. We're on the Madison Chain of Lakes at 8 a.m., then back at the Alliant Energy Center at 2 p.m. for happy hour, dinner, and live and silent auctions, plus a chance to win an Alumacraft fishing boat. To sign up and get more info, go to castingforkids.org. Casting, the number 4kids.org.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
I'm John Hayes, owner of Goodman's Jewelers. We've been at the heart of many magical moments, from engagements to weddings to sweet 16s. It warms my heart to be a part of these moments for 40 years with people I consider family. With the highest standards and an eye for classic beauty, enjoy a warm boutique setting at Goodman's Jewelers, where integrity shines in every gem. At 220 State Street, Goodman's Jewelers, the Diamond Store in Madison, since 1933.
The best is at Goodman's.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Hungry? Quick Trip's got you. No dinner plans? Food's here, and it's a pizza party. Don's pizzas are 4 for just $10. Choose from a variety of toppings. So easy and delicious. Get plenty to eat and keep your wallet happy too.
Food's here, and it's ready when you are. Quick Trip isn't just convenient, it's here to make your life easier and better.
Fuel up at your ultimate destination for snacks and meals that hit the spot. Only at Quick Trip.
We're on the Badgers.
I ain't going to be scared to say that this team can make a Final Four.
Because we're on Wisconsin Sports.
This team's good enough. They are.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
All right, let's get to one more call here, and then we'll get into our In Every Conversation, because that seems to be something that divides the fan base a little bit. That's why I want to get into it, because some people, hey, I like the fact that he's in every conversation. And then other people, I don't give a blank if he's in every conversation or not. Did he get the guy or did he not get the guy? And now we got Devontae Adams and DK Metcalf, and he wasn't in the conversation. Let's have a conversation with Mo in Illinois first, though. Mo, good morning. Thanks for holding on. What do you got for us, buddy?
Well, what I got for you is a lot of frustration. And I know I
figured.
speak on many Packers fans.
Let me just say, when I saw your name on my text chain, I had a pretty good idea what the call was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I know I speak for many Packer fans when I say that we're just kind of tired and fed up with the same old garbage mentality. I mean, coming from Goody and just the front office, they're very cheap. They never want to go above and beyond when it comes to adding playmakers. And this stems all the way back to the Favre and Rodgers era. I mean, they do a few sprinkles, they add a few players, but they never get that home run signing. I know last year they got McKinney and Jacobs, so I'll give Goot some flowers for that. I'm just kind of tired of how overstimulated they get with being the youngest team in the NFL. I've had to hear that pile of garbage for the last 3 years, and I don't want to hear it again this year. I'm getting quite tired of it. I mean, we're talking about the receivers being young. We're talking about at key positions them being young. Well, what has young done to this team? Young has gotten them on the couch and not go back to where they belong in a Lombardi trophy. They need to bring home the Lombardi trophy, and Goot is not making moves that are reflective of that. So I'm just tired of it. And I have a question for Bryan because, you know, he's been in that locker room, and I'm just kind of curious with how the players think. Do they not have some frustration in that locker room with not adding players, especially at positions where it seems like it's pretty universal with the sentiment in the locker room that they need to add a true number one alpha wide receiver? Like, how do the players manage that? Because I could tell you, playing high school football, I'd get pissed off when people are not, you know, taking their job serious or not even trying. I can't imagine what the NFL is like. So I'm just curious to hear from Bryan about that.
Really good question, Mo.
Yeah, great question. You know, I think guys are respectful of other players in the locker room. I'll start with that, right? Like, guys are very respectful of other people. So at least in my time there, so it's not going to be something that's wildly outspoken, like, you know, like we need to get this, or like we like rallying around, like we need to get a new number one, or we need a true number one. But there will be conversations behind closed doors, most likely between the quarterback and probably between the quarterback's coach and the wide receiver coach and probably, you know, the offensive coordinator and things of that nature about what the needs are for the team and things like that, and what goes on and the whispers there. Because the last thing you want to do is upset the guys that are currently in the locker room, because if you don't end up getting that number one guy that you're looking for or you're hoping to go out and get, and you do have to ride with the room that you have, and those guys are, you know, disgruntled and pissed at you, it's going to make for a rough ride, right? Like, and you don't want that to happen. And regardless of what, like, Jacobs and Jordan Love or whatever happened during that media day, you know, deal that happened during the Super Bowl, regardless of that, what it appears to be that they're riding with the group that they got right now. So, like, no matter what those guys sent out in text afterwards, right? Like, I know, you know, Reed and Wicks, you know, they sent some tweets out that they were pretty unhappy with it or whatever, what they said. You know, that stuff's got to be in the past now, right? Like, you got to move on and you got to be able to be adults and professionals and work that out between each other and go play. But there's guys know what positions, you know, not saying that they struggle, but know where there may be some deficiencies, right? Like, hey, you know, we could use another wide receiver, or we could use a guard, or we could use a defensive tackle, or we could use another corner. You know, and that's why guys pay attention during the draft, or guys pay attention during free agency, because you know what the team needs. Like, guys know it.
So you don't.
Some guys have.
So as a player, like, all right, first of all, you're sitting there. I don't really want another right tackle, right? Like, Tausch, and we love him, But when you were drafted, he was probably thinking, well, boy, I sure hope he replaces Cliffy on the left side, not me, right? And then he had the injury, right? But you guys pay attention to that. But I think to Mo's point, and thanks for the call, Mo. Sorry to cut you off. But is there God, I just want us to go all in feeling? Because I can guarantee you that the previous quarterback, that was his biggest frustration. And he wasn't shy about that. Like, I'm not betraying secrets with him. Like, he wanted Ted especially, when you guys were close during your playing career, because so much of your career obviously overlapped with his. There were times where he really wanted, whether it was, during the Super Bowl year, and you guys won the Super Bowl anyway, but he wanted Marshawn Lynch. Played with him at Cal, and hey, maybe you guys win in 11 too. I don't know. But the bottom line is that he got really pissed that there were not enough times where you guys said, blank them picks, we're going all in, and we're gonna push the cap to the limit. We're gonna give up picks to trade for guys. That is something that I find myself wondering, like Mo, if players sometimes get to be like, God, I just want to go all in. Let's go for it.
Yeah, there's a player mentality of it that you want to be aggressive at times with it, right? Like we want to go get as many guys as we can to help win, but like that's just wishful thinking because it does not matter what we think. It literally does. Yeah, there's some guys that have pull. Obviously, Aaron had pull, but you just said it. Aaron wanted stuff to happen, and it didn't happen. Right? Like, and that's just, that says it all, right? Like, and Aaron was the most important player on the team. We all know that. There's no secret there. He wanted, certain wide receivers or running backs or whatever he wanted, and it just didn't happen. So, like, you could want this guy to come in or that guy to come in or this position, and it doesn't matter, right? So, like, we could wish all we want, and the organization looks at it as Green Bay always has, build and develop. That's how they look at it, and that's how they're able to manage the cap so well and keep things in check and do what they do. So, yeah, you always like to see the team that you're on be aggressive to give yourself an opportunity. I always felt that the teams that I was on in Green Bay, we always had enough talent that I felt like we always had a chance, right? Like, I always felt like we had a lot of good players. So we were like always in the hunt, right? Like, so yeah, maybe if we would have brought in another, I guess, high price guy, maybe that chance goes up significant. I don't know, right? But like,
right.
I always felt that we had the guys to get it done, and that's the way it is. But again, maybe an outsider perspective would have been better than mine insider perspective. But from a player point of view, there's nothing we can do about it. I can assure you that. We could all go up to the GM office, every single guy, and go, hey, we want this guy. And they're going to look at us and go, turn around, and go back down to the locker room. Don't care. Please leave. And that's just the way it is. Especially linemen. Especially linemen.
You guys, your opinions are worth less than the rest of the guys for sure.
Exactly.
All right, I want to. We'll save the in the conversation for the top of the 11 o'clock hour. I've seen Jesse flash a couple of texts throughout the show. I want to get to a couple of those because there were some good conversation points to have there. We'll do those next, and then at the top of the 11 o'clock hour, we'll get into this idea of being in the conversation. Because again, at least when it came to a Devontae Adams, there was no conversation. More with Bryan Bulaga, our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde and Tausch.
We're on the Badgers.
Who would have thought after 2 seasons?
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
That Greg Gard would have less of a hot seat than Luke Fickell.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Hey, it's Jesse Nelson to tell you about Pepsi. Of course, we're talking about free agency, which means next up is the draft. What will Green Bay do? Well, I'm happy to tell you that they'll be cracking open a Pepsi. Pepsi's a proud partner of the NFL and the NFL draft. And with the first overall pick, Pepsi has selected who? Pepsi Zero Sugar. 4.8 inches tall, 12 full ounces, and 0 calories. That is an impressive stat line. As he gets set for the draft up in Green Bay, Pepsi is bringing the Pepsi Challenge back for the draft. Visit the NFL Experience and put your taste buds to the test with Pepsi. Pepsi, proud partner of the NFL Draft. Of course, they partnered with Wisconsin Badgers safety Hunter Wohler. Excited to see him get drafted this year up in Green Bay. Pepsi Zero Sugar is perfect for tailgating the big games this week for the tournament. If you're up in the draft, that'll be a great spot to have some Pepsi. Heck, I had some Pepsi at the high school bowling state championships this week, where Pepsi was a proud partner of the high school bowling championships. They're everywhere. They're awesome. Pepsi and Pepsi Zero Sugar. There's nothing like it. Pepsi, proud partner of the NFL and the NFL Draft.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Steinhoffels. Shop Steinhoffels, make it your own event. Personalized colors, fabrics, and more. Save up to $800 and use Steinhoffels 18-month financing. Only at Steinhoffels. Hunter Wohler, one of 9 Badgers participating in Wisconsin's Pro Day. From Senior Bowl to the Combine in Indy, Wohler on stopping to smell those roses.
Once I got back up to my room, I was able to sit down and just kind of think and be thankful, because that was, you do the Senior Bowl and then the Combine's the next big thing, and it's like, there's a lot riding on it and you can prove yourself in a big way. And so I got back to my room and I was just kind of thankful for the way this journey has gone, and just thankful for, all the people that have helped me get here.
Watch our full catch-up with Hunter Wohler on ESPN Madison's YouTube channel.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
You're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. Jim Rutledge here. What is a better buying experience? Well, that's the thing. You get to define it. It is the experience that is customized to you. What experience do you want at a car dealership? They can be your trusted friend or your trusted expert. So if you're in the market for a new or new-to-you Silverado, Colorado, Blazer, Trailblazer, remember, you're only minutes away from a better buying experience. And that's at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
Outside In. That's what we call our Outdoor Living Unlimited showroom at 2018 South Stoughton Road. All the cool stuff you want outside in your yard displayed inside. Patios, decks, pavers, and an automated pergola, fire pit, outdoor kitchen, a putting green, and in-ground pool. Even a converting 3-season room that's either outside or inside. We are Outdoor Living Unlimited. Your outdoor living potential awaits you at our Outside In showroom, 2018 South Stoughton Road. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Tuesday, we'll continue to react to NFL free agency and look ahead to which team helped themselves the most so far. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Slow down on Monday, not a sound. On Wednesday, might get loud. On Friday, but on Saturday.
All right, Jesse, I feel like we ignored the text portion of the talk and text line, the carbless talk and text line. Less is more. So let's get more from the texts. Let's give us a couple here.
Here's Thomas in Manitowoc. Might be his first text he's ever sent us, and it's a long one, but it's a good one.
Look how tiny that font is.
Yeah, auto-adjusting font. It gets nice and tiny for us sometimes, yeah. I'm upset the Packers didn't even call Devontae. DK, I understand it's too much money. I don't trust the receiver room at all. Regardless, Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave needs to be utilized more in this offense, period. I will give this time, but we will sign a no-name player that no one knows as an edge rusher that's 25 or 26 years old. Overall, the Packers went 1-5 versus this tough division last year. That should make there be a sense of urgency because no one is going to wait for the Packers to get better. Thomas and Manitowoc. A couple of different thoughts there.
Brian, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, listen, the thing that jumps out to me right off the get is the division record. I mean, that's not a lying stat. That is the record in the division, 1-5. I don't recall when was the last time that was even the division record, Jason. I mean,
I believe 2005 when the Mark Tauscher led 4-12 Packers were the best 4-12 team in NFL history.
Okay, so it's been a long time since a division record looked that way. So yeah, that's a reason to be a little concerned in it. And obviously, the Bears are making a lot of moves. They're trying to improve that roster dramatically right now, and trying to turn that thing around with a new head coach and all that, and get that quarterback settled. So. That to me jumps off the page when you look at what that text said. Now, I don't know what edge rusher we're going to get that's 25 or 26 old that is a no-name guy. I have no idea. We'll see what that is. I don't really have much to say about that. And I do agree that we do need to get Kraft and Musgraves more involved. That has to be the case because if we don't do anything with the wide receiver room, those guys have to be more involved. They got to be, targeted more and used more consistently.
Jesse, what else you got?
Another long one here, but a good one.
Jeez, epic.
Everybody's got a lot to say on the text line today. Spencer in Minnesota. When is the last time Goody made Matt LaFleur's job easier? Josh Jacobs wasn't accustomed to our running system, and Matt had to change it midway through the season. First-round offensive lineman had to play a new position. Gave him the youngest group of pass catchers ever 2 years ago. Goody couldn't even sign Big Dog for Matt. I'm not concerned about missing out on Devontae Adams. I just want the GM and coach to be on the same page. Spencer in Minnesota.
Yeah,
well, that's a good example of the Big Dog one. Now, again, he was essentially blocking tight end toward the end of his time, but he really did have a good connection with LaFleur, and that's the kind of old guy that I think LaFleur, God, he'd still be in the Packers locker room if LaFleur had any say about it.
Yeah. I mean, I love Mercedes. He was great. He was great to play with. But when it comes to GMs making coaches' lives easier, I mean, this is a tough one to answer because, it's going to be very hard to bring in players that fit perfect into certain schemes every single time. You know what I mean? It's just hard to do that. Especially in free agency, it's hard to unless you're taking a Shanahan player or you're taking a McVay player and you're bringing them over, right? That's the way that you could find a like for like match. But when you go get a guy like Jacobs, who played with Vegas, and the scheme that they played was downhill duo, and now you have to adjust your scheme to fit what that is. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to change things up and adjust and make him comfortable and change how you do things. And they did that, and I think, and I've said it before, I think this year they're gonna adjust back to what they do because I think Jacobs is comfortable with the system and what LaFleur's system does and all that. And I mean, they'll still do what he does well, but back to what LaFleur's system does well to help out the play action game and all that. With the receivers and having the youngest team and youngest group, yeah, that's going to be tough on a coach. It's going to be tough on a coach no matter what, because we've talked about it before. That puts a lot of responsibility on the coach to police a lot of things, because while there are some veteran leaders on that team like Kenny and now like McKinney and guys like that, years prior, there wasn't. So, like, the head coach has to do a lot of those things, right? Where normally in the past, when he had Aaron and guys like Mercedes and Devontae and Dave and like that, the veteran players did all that. They policed the locker room. They held people accountable. They held those things in check. And if the head coach did need to get involved, then he would get involved. So there is some pros and cons with having the young locker room and having the veterans in there as well. And you know, the GM has to find that happy balance too, and that kind of goes back to the last caller about being mad about having the youngest roster. You know, he's sick of having hearing the youngest roster. At some point, you know, what to that last caller's, you know, what he was saying, the youngest roster thing, you can't make that excuse anymore, right? Like that's over at some point, right? Like you just can't keep saying that. Like that, you know, the first year, sure. Second year, okay, yeah, like they're still very young, but at some point they've played a lot of football, right? Like that, they've played a lot, and they've, you know, experienced a lot. They've seen a lot. Now it's time to perform, and that's this year, I would imagine, right? Like to me, 2 years of football, 2 years of experience. Here we go. Let's see it. So like that's what I think. You know, I'm looking forward to is to see how these guys have grown. I mean, we've seen it 2 years. Now here's the third year. Time to deliver.
All right, I want to get into the conversation about being in the conversation. Free agency, the negotiating window is open, and Twitter is closed.
Again?
It's not working again. So Tausch's old boy, Elon, not making it easy to get all that information.
Threads! Where's Threads?
Blue ski, as Tausch likes to call it as well. Yeah.
Time to shine, new platforms. Here we go.
Big opportunity, yes. Where on earth is Adam Schefter going to post all the breaking news? Here's some breaking news. Tausch has been telling you about it for a while, though, actually. Packers fans, if you're dreaming of the ultimate draft day experience, American Family Insurance's Dream Draft Sweepstakes is your chance to win a VIP trip to the NFL Draft right here in Green Bay. Imagine this. This is where Tausch tells us to close our eyes. But I can't because I got to read this. You and a guest could score exclusive tickets, hotel accommodations. You don't have to stay with the Wilde family and all their pets, and custom merchandise and more. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that you don't want to miss. So enter today. Go to amfam.com/Packers. That's amfam.com/Packers to enter that sweepstakes. Twitter briefly back up to inform us that Chris Godwin goes back to the Buccaneers per Ian Rappaport. 3 years, $66 million. $44 million guaranteed at signing. Yeah, I don't think the Packers would have been interested in that number either. We will. Yeah, that's a lot. We'll get into the conversation about being in the conversation next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Hey, it's Kelly Sheffield, Wisconsin Badgers volleyball head coach. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison, a good Karma Brands radio station.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania. Coverage of the boys basketball postseason tournament continues with the boys sectional semifinal Thursday night, exclusively on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel, and Saturday with the sectional final, both on YouTube and on 100.5 ESPN. It is officially free agent season. The legal tampering period, as it's affectionately known as, has opened in the National Football League. Players can officially say that they are signing with teams as of 3 p.m. on Wednesday. But as of now, they have the open agreement time to be able to talk with teams. This was the time last year that Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney both agreed to deals to join the Green Bay Packers. As of now, the Packers not really in on anybody. Big developments over the weekend. DK Metcalf traded to the Steelers where he signed a new 5-year deal. Bunch of other moves, including Devontae Adams going to the Los Angeles Rams on a 2-year deal. Myles Garrett signs with the Cleveland Browns, returns to the Browns on a new deal. Plenty to talk about. Jason Wilde, Bryan Bulaga in for Tausch is the Cousin Sode of the day. Continue on Wilde and Tausch right now.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
O'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch with Bryan Bulaga in as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. I have my notifications for the ESPN app as well for anything from Adam Schefter, and I'm not. What all are we missing out on, Jesse? Have you gone on to Threads? Are there any signings that we're missing?
I literally deleted the Threads app from my phone like 2 months ago because I realized this wasn't working. Like, no one's doing this. And I wanted to clear up some storage space on my phone. So I guess I might have to go in and re-download it and figure it out because apparently both Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter are actively sharing free agent news on Threads as of right now, including Chris Godwin. 3 years, $66 million, 44 guaranteed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I also just have the TV on here in the studio, so like all these insiders are on TV. Schefter's on ESPN, Rap Sheet's on NFL Network. So I'm just kind of watching TV the old-fashioned way and seeing if they share it on there too.
Hassan Reddick, the Jets era of the Hassan Reddick era in New York with the Jets is over. I am on the ESPN Live tracker on ESPN.com, so open up another window next to your YouTube window where you're watching us. Hassan Reddick gets a 1-year deal from Tampa Bay with $12 million guaranteed per Adam Schefter. So you've got that's the news there on him. If you were a Packers fan thinking he might be an option after what went on after his trade from Philly, I don't think you'd be interested. Mekhi Becton set to test free agency, the Eagles offensive lineman, former Jet, by the way. So if the Packers are going to do any veteran pickups on the offensive line, looks like the Eagles are not going to get a deal done with him as free agency begins. All right, so speaking of having conversations, Brian, I went back into the archives and found my story from when Goody talked about this when he became the GM in 2018 when you were still playing. And he did. He said it. We want to be in every conversation. And I feel like now, 8 years later, there's a lot of folks who, when they see that or hear that, there's some that like it. They're glad. Hey, that's what I want. I just want them to be in the conversation. They're not going to get everybody. But there's others that say, well, I don't care if you're in the conversation or not if you don't get the guy. They got 2 guys. They got 2 studs last year. Let's not forget that when we're prisoner of the momenting and nothing's happening today. They got 2 really good guys. But that is more the exception that proves the rule. Does it matter to you now as a fan and analyst that the Packers are in more conversations? Because they clearly weren't when it came to Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with. I'd rather be in the conversations than than the opposite of. What does it matter if we're in the conversation if we don't get them? Because there's always, a possibility if you're in the conversation, and Green Bay does deals different than I feel like, other teams. I mean, they're obviously, as we all know, they're very protective of their picks. So like there's going to be certain things that Green Bay's willing to give up and not willing to give up. So to be able to explore certain deals is what at least I'm hoping that Goody's willing to do, right? Look into deals. What could be an option, right? And then if that option is worth it, could you do it? And that's really all you can ask for, at least for me now, like all you can ask for. I just, the way Green Bay has always done it, like, I don't expect him to like go out and make tons of like trades and deals. Like it just hasn't been that way. Like I get last year, like you said, is more the exception. It's not the rule. Like, yes, they're great players. McKinney and Jacobs are great players. But it's not going to happen year after year. It just won't. As much as we want it to, I'd love it to go sign a great free agent every single year, and they make the impact that those two guys did every single year. But it just doesn't happen every single year. And from a cap standpoint, I get the cap keeps going up, but from a cap standpoint, you can't continue to sign big money guys year after year after year. It eventually catches up to you in some way, shape, or form because it impacts a big name guy on your roster already that is coming up for a deal. So you have to look at it from both sides of the situation and how they have to balance those things out.
So I'm still getting like alerts from Twitter, but then when I go into Twitter, it doesn't appear. According to Ian Rappaport, the highest rated center is off the board. Drew Dalman, who was with the Atlanta Falcons, goes to the Bears. This is now the third veteran offensive lineman that the Bears have added, right? They got Tooney from the Chiefs. They got the guy from the Rams, whose name is escaping me now.
Jonah Jackson.
Yes. I know you got a lot of Bears fan friends who you held a lot of you won out over your Bears fan friends from your childhood and growing up in Chicagoland. They appear to be very committed to fixing their offensive line and giving their quarterback a chance to succeed. What do you make of this at this point now that they've added 3 veteran offensive linemen to protect Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I mean they're serious. They're dead serious about it. They're building from the inside out. That is a clear approach. Ben Johnson saw it in Detroit, how they did it in Detroit, how that organization did it up front. They were very good up front, and he saw how that benefited the offense. They could do anything. They could run it, they can throw it, and when you got the guys up front that can take care of business, man, you have a lot of freedom in the offense. So they took care of the 3 inside spots. Now with the Bears, the tackle positions are also an issue. Now how they address those, we'll see, right? I mean, there's some guy. I mean, who's the free agents that are available? Ronnie Stanley, I think he's available. I don't think Baltimore's re-signed him. Now if the Bears go sign him, now we got like a complete rebuild of this offensive line, and that's red alert for the Bears because that now they're probably going to go spend another draft pick on a right tackle, and here we go. Right, they're totally rebuilding that offensive line group, which could be really, really good, like really good. So, but they're making all the right moves. From an offensive line standpoint, they're doing it because those 3 guys are good players. They're good players.
Well, Ronnie Stanley is, in fact, off the board. He is going back to the Ravens. Okay. 3 years, $60 million, which is tied for 8th among left tackles. This Drew Dalman thing makes me curious now. He gets $42 million per Adam Schefter, $28 million guaranteed. He was the best center available. The next best center available is Josh Myers. Mm-hmm. So if there is a team in the market for a center, he's not going to get that money, but I have a feeling he's going to get more than the Packers are willing to pay him at this point. So I'll be curious to see that.
Yeah, I had a good feeling, and we talked about this a bunch. Green Bay probably wasn't going to be re-signing him, but I thought he had probably his best year, and I knew the market. Whoever does re-sign him, he's going to get a good number. He's going to get a good number, and because I thought he did play probably his best ball. So I'm happy for him. It's good for him. You know what I mean? I hope the market treats him well, and he can get as much as he can. So that's the way I look at it. I mean, all these guys, right? That's how I feel about free agency with all these guys. I hope they can get as much as they can, and maybe people may say, well, that's so greedy of you. No, it's not. I want guys to make as much money as they possibly can in the little amount of time as they play. I want everyone to do the best they can. So I hope the best for everyone. And that's the way I look at it. So it's good for him. And I hope that wherever he lands, he plays well there, right? He gave a lot to Green Bay. He fought through a lot, played through a lot. So I hope wherever he lands, he plays well there too.
I'm glad that you didn't make more money, you personally, because otherwise you wouldn't need us. You wouldn't have to work at all. So you wouldn't be doing the show. So I'm glad that it didn't work out for you. That it worked out better for me because of that. You just do it for the love of the game, though. Let's be honest. All right, we got more with Bryan Bulaga, our cousin sub of the day. More moves going on throughout the league. We will keep you updated on those, especially with Twitter malfunctioning on the biggest day of the NFL calendar. More Wilde and Tausch. Bryan Bulaga, our cousin sub of the day. Stick around.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
As you're putting your spring calendar together, we'd love to have you join us Saturday, May 17th for Mark Osiki's 7th annual Casting for Kids Fishing Tournament to support the American Family Children's Hospital UW Carbone Cancer Center. We're on the Madison Chain of Lakes at 8 a.m., then back at the Alliant Energy Center at 2 p.m. for happy hour, dinner, and live and silent auctions, plus a chance to win an Alumacraft fishing boat. To sign up and get more info, go to castingforkids.org. Casting4kids.org.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Professional volleyball is in full swing from here in Madison. Don't miss a second of the action. Cheer on Love Madison Volleyball as they make history with some of the best players in the world. Olympic medalists, NCAA All-Americans, and one of the most talented rookie classes ever. This is volleyball at its highest level. Experience the excitement yourself. Get your tickets today at lovb.com. Volleyball is the next major league.
When you're in the right place at the right time, things get done. The important things, like knowing what you need and how it all works. Talking truck. Fixing it right the first time. At Zimbrick Chevrolet, our people get it done right and now. That's how you know you're in the right place at the right time. And you'll never overpay at Zimbrick Chevrolet.
What are you doing out there?
Come on! I saw you at the game the other night. Yeah, you. Up there getting mad, acting like we're all out there making $1 million a game. Well, let me be real with you. This isn't the pros. It's school sports, and it's a game, our game. So please, let us play.
School sports fans, remember, when you cheer for your team, make noise for the right reasons. This message presented by the NFHS and the NIAAA.
And all student athletes in Wisconsin.
They did it again. For the 5th time, Siding Unlimited, the 30-year-old Wisconsin family-owned company, is the Pella Window and Door Company's Platinum Premier Certified Contractor of the Year in the whole USA. Siding Unlimited is here in Madison with a dynamic outside-in showroom. See Siding Unlimited's window, door, roofing, deck, and other great outside stuff inside at 2018 South Stoughton Road, south of Buckeye. See Siding Unlimited's frequent Instagram posts or go to sidingunlimited.com.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
No updates from 1265 Lombardi Avenue other than this from Rob Domofsky. At this point, cornerback Jair Alexander remains a member of the Green Bay Packers. A source said Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst is, quote, not moving him yet.
This is what they said about Marissa Mosley yesterday at Wisconsin for an hour or two.
It remains to be seen what happens if they don't trade him and whether that would lead to his outright release. So I was talking to somebody yesterday about him, and as I mentioned earlier, I don't think there's anybody in the building who thinks he can't play anymore. When he plays, he is a very good player. But as I said to this person, when he plays is a pretty critical phrase in that equation. Right? Like, yeah, he was really good in the 6 games he played last year. Because Chicago doesn't count either. He played in that game. He played 10 snaps and then was shut down for the rest of the game. So 6 games, yeah, he's really good. He had a pick 6 in Tennessee. But how do you, if you're the team that has endured the last 2 seasons with him, how do you do it again? How do you go back for more? Like, Brian, I would say that if I'm an outside team and I've got some money to burn and I'm willing to take the risk in hopes of getting the big-time reward, right, of, hey, he stays healthy for us and we got an all-pro corner for a relatively bargain rate, I get that. I have a hard time picturing Goody bringing back a guy, even though he was his first ever draft pick as GM. I have a hard time picturing him after the last 2 years. Am I wrong? I mean, the person I talked to made it sound like there was still a chance that he's still on this team. I just don't think it's a very big chance.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's always a chance. You know what I mean? Like, you could, I mean, Homer, if he was on right now, he would tell me there's 100% chance there's no chance. So that's what he would be telling me, right?
That's what he does.
You know, and that's probably what he'll tell me tonight, too, when we do our show. But he's still on the roster, right? Like, so, like, no matter what we say, he's still on the roster. It's likely that they move on, but there's still that chance that he's there. Now, Goody doesn't seem like the type that after the last 2 seasons that he's going to try it again. Right, like unless they rework the deal and it's very team friendly and it is very incentivized with bonuses. But there's been no chatter that Jair is going to do that for the team. So, like, we don't know that, right? So, up to this point, we just have to assume that, he will be released. Now, the thing is, free agency is beginning, right? And if you're going to be released, you would like to be released now.
Right.
Teams have money to spend, or they're willing to spend, or they want to spend. So the longer Green Bay holds on to him, the worse it is for him. We'll just put it that way. So I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
You would want to be released yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, that's when you would want to be released. So you get into today and you're open. The market's open. So it's interesting to see that he's still on the roster today. But we talked about it earlier. They may want to take this thing to the draft, and
they don't care that it's not good for him, right, Brian? Like, they don't care.
I don't think that's what they're worried about. To be honest with you, I don't think that they're worried about that. They want value for him. I think that's what they're worried about. I think they're worried about value for him. And we don't know the behind the scenes of this relationship. That's what I want to make clear. We don't know the behind the scenes relationship. We don't know what Jair's agent has been saying back and forth with Russ Ball and Goody. We have no idea, right? We don't know what's been going on. So we don't know the situation. We don't know, so we can't speculate. But it appears that if, what your sources are telling you, that we're not, Goody saying, like, we're not moving on from him right yet. They're holding tight. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what's going to happen. It's interesting.
Yeah, and look, when teams say, we released him now to give him a chance to catch on elsewhere, that's nice. It is. It's nice. It's nice. But the bottom line is, we released him because we don't think he can play anymore, or we don't want him anymore. Like, that's the unspoken part of that. It's not, we're just here to be nice to our former players. We just want to be nice. That's not it. Like, yeah, it's a nice touch, but the bottom line is, we don't want you anymore. And you can sugarcoat it by saying you're doing him a favor by getting him out there now. But in Alexander's case, they're not doing him that favor. Now, a skeptical person might say, well, he didn't do them any favors by not being available the last 2 years, so why should they do him any favors?
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, he's still on the roster as of right now at 11:30 a.m. Central Time on the first day of free agent negotiations. So, we will.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, we've been talking about this since the season ended, right? Like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? I asked you, when's it going to happen? I mean, multiple times. And, the dates continue to come and go, right? Like, they come and go and they come and go. And it's like, well, it hasn't happened yet. And I don't know. I don't know what that date's going to be, or if it is going to be, right? Like, there's a chance, but it's hard to believe, or hard to imagine that this thing's going to go on another year. It's hard to think it could happen, but we'll see. I mean, I guess crazy things happen, but it's just hard to believe that it'll go on one more time.
One other thing on this, and then we'll. I'm curious about, your experience. You're not an agent. You had Tom Condon. Is that who you had as your agent? And I see now his son Tommy is doing deals too, so he's keeping it in the family.
Tommy Condon.
Tommy. But I'm always one of the mechanisms, and I know you and I talked about this, whether it was here or on Homer's show, but one of the mechanisms that's often built into contracts are those roster bonuses that we talked about earlier in the show. There is none of that for Jair, so there's nothing forcing the Packers to make a decision on him before Wednesday's league year starts. Is that from a player's perspective? I don't know how to look at that from a reporter's perspective, because part of me is like, well, if they like me and they still want me to be here, they're going to take that signing, they're going to take that roster bonus, they're going to convert it to a signing bonus, they're going to spread out the cap charge, and they're going to keep me. On the flip side, it might lead to them cutting me, even if they're kind of on the fence of wanting to keep me or not, because they don't want to pay that. So how do you look at that? Did you have that as a player? Were there those triggers for you, and were there ever times at this time of year where you were like, well, I certainly hope they pay that roster bonus because I'd like to stay here and I'd like that money too while I'm at it?
Yeah, I mean, normally in the first probably year or maybe two, those roster bonuses are guaranteed. That's part of the guaranteed money. But they just work them as roster bonuses, and like you say, they may convert them to a signing bonus to spread it out even more. You know what I mean? But there are cases that then, yes, there's roster bonuses. Like I've had them that they're not guaranteed, but they're roster bonuses that are then, not guaranteed, and they're decisions. Decisions have to get made if they're going to pick that up or not going to pick that up. And yeah, you always get a little nervous about it. That day would be coming up, and you're sitting around looking at your phone going, am I going to get the call telling me we're not picking it up? And you're like, go, or no call is good call. So like, that's kind of the way I always looked at it. But you're just always a little nervous. You never know what could happen. But most of the time, right? Most of the time when you're going into this situation, there's probably not going to be a surprise. Most of the time, the team pretty much lets the guy or the agent know that we're going to be releasing him before the roster bonuses due. Now, I guess there could be the rare occasion that they just cut a guy the day before that it's due, and they don't even let anyone know, and the dude gets a call and he's released. I guess sure, I'm sure it's happened before. But I think nowadays guys get notified, and they're well in advance know that this is coming down the road here. So the guys that Rob mentioned, right? All those guys. I mean, I would assume Rashawn's and probably McKinney's and Jacobs and Kenny's are probably all guaranteed roster bonuses, would be my guess. If we'd look at their contracts, I would imagine those are all guaranteed roster bonuses, if I would take a guess. But just based on the years they're in their contract right now. They're new deals.
Yeah, I don't know if look, they believe that Rashawn Gary is going to still become the player that they paid him to be. If we were another year down the road with him, though, I wonder if this would be a more difficult decision to whether pay it or not. I'm eager. Look, he's one of the players that I'm extremely curious to see what he does this season, because there was a lot of, I don't want to call it excuse making, but both Goody and LaFleur were talking about how they didn't get the production out of their front four and said, they're adjusting to a new scheme and whatever else. Okay, well, we'll have to wait and see if anything changes on that front in year two of Jeff Hafley's system. All right, we need to get to Whoa Nelly. Also, Jesse wants to tell us about his love, like Tausch's love, of Coors Light.
I'm not going to do it this time. Mark Tauscher here.
Chicken.
Mark Tauscher here for the Blue. This is the one I actually could do. Mark Tauscher here for the Blue Mountains of ice cold, refreshing Coors Light. Whether you're celebrating your favorite team winning a state bowling championship at Alpine Lanes yesterday in Muskego, or you just need a moment to chill, crack open a Rocky Mountain cold Coors Light. It's crazy Tausch would know all those details. Coors Light, brewed with a 3-step cold process: cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged, so it's actually made to chill the mountains on Coors Light's cold activated bottles and cans turn blue when chilled to perfection, which, besides the refreshing taste, is my, Mark Tauscher's, favorite thing about drinking Coors Light. Refreshingly cold and only 102 calories, Coors Light is made to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, a Golden, Colorado.
It's not bad. You certainly got the cadence right. Whoa Nelly is next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
We ask and you answer. Tune in to Jim, Matt, and Molly every weekday 4 to 6 and follow at Jim, Matt, Molly on X to vote in daily poll questions presented by Siding Unlimited, your local window installation pros.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offer the Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We are with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for Kohler Services. Well, if you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now is the time to turn to Kohler Service. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. And this month only, get $1,000 off your Lugstone shower remodel and no payment financing until 2026. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote. With fast, professional installation always included. Again, that's KohlerServicesWI.com.
It's time for the Milwaukee Basketball Report on 100.5 ESPN.
Lillard's going to tee up a three, and he splashes it through for the left wing.
Brought to you by Michelob Ultra, the official beer of the Milwaukee Bucks.
The winning streak comes to an end for the Bucks as they fall in back-to-back home games on Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday night, a 111-109 loss to the Magic, and on Sunday, a 112-100 loss to the Cavaliers. Head coach Doc Rivers.
We got to be consistent in the way we play. Every time we play right, it's hard to beat us. And every time we don't, anyone can beat us. And we go back and forth too much.
As we head down the stretch, a huge game for the Bucks in Indianapolis on Tuesday night as they take on the Pacers with seeding on the line in the Eastern Conference. It's a 6:30 tip Tuesday.
This has been your Milwaukee Basketball Report on Madison's home for Bucks basketball, 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Michelob Ultra.
In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you how to save money and save the planet. It's simple. Ditch your energy bill and make the switch over to Everlight Solar. While electricity prices keep rising, Everlight Solar will give you the chance to take ownership of your power while also reducing your carbon footprint. As a local company based out of Madison, they'll be there with you every step of the way as you make the switch to solar. To learn more about how you can save money and save the planet, go to everlightsolar.com.
Matt Hamilton here. As a proud Wisconsinite, I'm all about supporting local. And there's nothing more local than Metcalf's Market. Metcalf's Rewards is your key to incredible savings. With thousands of coupons available every week, loyal members enjoy special pricing on select sale items. Plus, it's free to join. And when you sign up in-store using your phone number, new members instantly receive 500 points, equivalent to $5 off your purchase. Visit Metcalf's Market in Hilldale, near Westtown Mall, or in Wauwatosa today. And start saving with Metcalf's Rewards. Metcalf's Market. Bring local home.
Welcome to the 2025 NFL Draft on ESPN Radio.
The NFL Draft is now underway.
Live from historic Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
With the first pick.
Thursday, April 24th on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC.
Jesse's facing a conundrum. It's a busy day with free agency, but he really wants to talk about the state bowling championships we'll see what he decides to do in Wonelli.
If the topic is good, the guys discuss.
Just the other morning I had breakfast at Tracy Rocker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa, Nelly!
On Wilde and Tausch.
I'm not going to talk about the state bowling championships.
You know you want to.
I really do, but I know that there's a large contingency of people that want to hear what Bryan Bulaga has to say about Aaron Rodgers a lot more than they want to hear me flaunt that Muskego won the state bowling championship yesterday.
You still snuck it in, though.
So, Bryan Bulaga, Aaron Rodgers remains a free agent. What do you think your old teammate is going to do?
Well, that's a good question. Obviously, the rumor mill and is going around to Pittsburgh again, right? I mean, early on they said Pittsburgh, no way, and now they get DK Metcalf, and now it's back on Pittsburgh, and obviously there's no noise out of Aaron's camp, right? There's been no signal that he wants to go to Pittsburgh or is going to Pittsburgh, but the rumor mill is now back on that, so we'll see what happens. Would he be a good fit there? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But we'll see, right? I mean, they got.
How about Seattle? How about Seattle with John Schneider? They traded their starting quarterback over the weekend.
Yeah, but then they got rid of all their receivers. So I don't think that's going to be an option there. That looks like a complete teardown and rebuild. For some reason. I don't know why, but that's what it looks like.
They still have Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they got rid of Lockett, but I forgot who the other one is that's there. But they have 2 that they're building around.
Yeah. DK Metcalf being traded makes that a lot less appealing if you're a quarterback. I'm sure Sam Darnold will love it there.
So,
whoa, Nelly!
That was what I was going to ask next. Somehow Geno Smith was the one who started the quarterback carousel on Friday, which is amazing. So Geno Smith gets traded to the Raiders to reunite with Pete Carroll, which is kind of fun, I guess. No one saw that coming. So now Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh, Sam Darnold, Seattle, Aaron Rodgers, Giants, maybe Russell Wilson still needs a home. Of all these potential scenarios, Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, the Colts, the Giants, there's a bunch of guys out there. Is there one that stands out to either of you? Brian, you can go first. Is the one that's like, this makes too much sense, let's see it happen?
I think the best situation, to me at least, would be Pittsburgh. I mean, they got a good defense. They got a good team. A stable head coach, a stable organization from a standpoint of ownership and all, how they do things, how they operate. Obviously, they brought in Metcalf. They have good tight ends, so they got good pieces there. That'd be the team that'd make most sense to me, I guess. Maybe Jason looks at it different, but that's the way I see it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the perfect scenario is for him, right? Like there were folks that are still pushing for Minnesota. I think Minnesota wants J.J. McCarthy to be their starting quarterback. They drafted him in the top 10.
They're nuts.
I mean, yeah, well, look, if you would have said last season that the Vikings were going to go whatever they were, 14-3, with Sam Blank and Darnold as their quarterback, people would have said you were an idiot. But he had a great year. He had a coach that knew how to use him. He had Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to throw to, which certainly helped. But the fact of the matter is that, maybe J.J. McCarthy can do the same thing. So I don't see them as a landing spot for Rodgers. And this goes back to what Tausch was arguing, is where exactly is a good fit for him? I don't think there's anywhere that's a good fit for him. And if I'm Pittsburgh, so I tried the Russell Wilson thing, I tried the Justin Fields thing, and Brian said it earlier in the show. They've basically spent all this time in the post-Ben Roethlisberger era trying to figure out what the heck to do. And for whatever faults that Jordan Love has, after 2 seasons, you at least feel better about him than what other teams have tried to do. Kenny Pickett? No. They signed Mitch Trubisky at one point to be their starter. No. Russell Wilson? Didn't work. Like, they made the playoffs, but it wasn't because Russell Wilson was great. Justin Fields is going to go somewhere else now. Like, that's if you don't get position right, you got no chance. And I don't know what Aaron Rodgers. Well, I don't know where he's going to land. I don't believe he's retiring, though. I know some people believe that. I don't. I just don't. I'll be very surprised if that happens. Whoa, Nelly.
Whoa, Nelly!
Would you rather, if you're the Minnesota Vikings, would you rather sign Daniel Jones or Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, I would rather sign Aaron. If I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I would rather sign Aaron, to be honest with you, because, I mean, throwing Jefferson and Addison the ball, I would rather have Aaron doing that, to be dead honest with you. And then running that offense, very similar to LaFleur's. I mean, that would be the guy that I'd want doing it. But that's just me.
Yeah, I would say that Aaron Rodgers is a much better player still, even if he's closer to being done than not. At the same time, for that team, I think you probably want Daniel Jones as J.J. McCarthy's backup, because the idea of having one of the greatest of all time behind your rookie quarterback, all you're doing is waiting for him to have like 2 bad games in a row, and then the fan base is going to be chanting Aaron Rodgers' name. But again, I've made my position clear. I would love for Aaron Rodgers to be a Viking. Could not be more interested in that, but I don't see it happening. All right, that's it for Whoa Nelly. We'll wrap things up with Bryan Bulaga. We'll see if there's any Packers moves in the final 6 minutes of the show. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
Mark Tauscher here for Pizza Hut. Well, you know, I've loved Pizza Hut going back to the days when I was a kid participating in their legendary Book It program. It was great then, and it's great making new memories with my family now. It is the best month of the year for basketball fans, and Pizza Hut is the perfect addition to your game day viewing experience. Whether it's a night in on your own or you're having the whole crew over to watch all of the best tournament action, stock up with some original stuffed crust pizza, wings with your favorite flavor sauces, or a bunch of the other delicious options Pizza Hut has to offer. Hurry in or order online today at pizzahut.com. Brackets, buzzer beaters, and pizza. Make sure Pizza Hut is part of your tournament viewing plans this month. And remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by The Jump Around. Don't miss new episodes of this exclusive digital show talking all things Wisconsin sports, premiering every Thursday at 12:30, streaming live on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Hunter Wohler, one of 9 Badgers participating in Wisconsin's Pro Day. From Senior Bowl to the Combine and Indy, Wohler on stopping to smell those roses.
Once I got back up to my room, I was able to sit down and just kind of think and be thankful, because that was, you do the Senior Bowl and then the Combine's the next big thing, and it's like, there's a lot riding on it and you can prove yourself in a big way. And so I got back to my room and I was just kind of thankful for the way this journey has gone, and just thankful for, all the people that have helped me get here.
Watch our full catch-up with Hunter Wohler on ESPN Madison's YouTube channel.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Ben Bruss here to tell you about Zimbrick European. They're Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, and certified pre-owned. But the best part is I've been working with them since 2018, and the evolution has been a 2-door, a 4-door, and now it's time for an SUV. My life has changed, and it's changed with Zimbrick European. Being a dad has made it really important to have the comfort and the safety that the SUV will bring me. Again, Zimbrick European off the belt line at Rimrock Road. Of course, I found the sexiest car on the lot. Check them out.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
The 25th annual Madison St. Patrick's Day Parade is taking place on Sunday, March 16th at 1:30 around the Capitol Square. Join in for an afternoon of music, dancing, and family-friendly fun featuring 2 Grand Marshals this year, Amber Noggle and Brandon Taylor. Don't forget incredible acts like the Kissers, Bucky Badger, the UW Marching Band, and Madison Bagpipers. Donations make it possible. Huge thanks to our sponsors, JP Cullen and J&K Security. Save the date, spread the word, and be part of Madison St. Patrick Day Parade.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Hey, it's Riley Yauk. Stay in the know on area high school sports and follow ESPN Madison on Twitter for Prep Mania on Deck, each week's preview for the top games and events. Prep Mania on Deck is brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of high school sports and local communities.
We're on the Brewers.
They're really good at identifying talent. They're really good at developing talent.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
This is one of the best organizations in Major League Baseball.
100.5 ESPN.
No big moves yet, and maybe no big moves to come at all for the Green Bay Packers in the coming hours and days. Nothing to the extent of Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney and those fun 45 minutes where we thought Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones were both going to be in the backfield last year. Brian, I know Tausch has got a vacation coming up. I hope you have time in your schedule to be a cousin sub again, because between having you and the news that was all breaking throughout the show, this just flew by. I know you got to get out to the farm, but man, we love it when you fill in. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yep, be more than happy to fill in. I mean, Jesse, maybe a day or two prior, maybe a little earlier than that, heads up would be nice. But
you're getting real comfortable starting to make demands now around here. Huh?
Oh yeah. I mean, more than 48 hours advance. Yeah, that's a high demand. That's a big demand. Yeah.
He's our Josh Jacobs. He wants a number one producer.
10 p.m. Friday, not good enough. Need a little earlier than that. Come on.
Holding you ransom. Yeah.
All right. So here's the deal.
Remember.
We're going. I'm going to go on the Mr. Irrelevant program a little bit later this afternoon, probably around 12:15. So I'm going to be talking to Alex Strofe, giving my thoughts on the action or inaction involving the Packers. Thanks to everyone for coming along for the ride with us today, and especially thanks to Bryan Bulaga for being our cousin sub of the day. Stay tuned for more. Stick around. Across ESPN Wisconsin and on our YouTube channels. Have a great day. Take care. Be good.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch? Presented by Pella Windows and